There we go. So we are back at it, and we're going to do a little different take on it this time. So over here, I think that's more appropriate for the Battle Brothers UI. But we are going to give a shot at another round of doing a first law origin Berserker start with the Legends PTR mark. That is one of the Berserker origins. It is one of the Legends specific origins. To play the Legends mod, we are still back on 1.4 of Battle Brothers and not playing the most recent update, which is fine. I really have found I come to enjoy the added complexity of the PTR mod. I think it's pretty cool, and I really like some of the perk changes that it adds and some of the like layered armor systems and the camping system. I think it just adds a little depth to the roleplay kind of approach of Battle Brothers, which I appreciate. And the PTR mod, which I also have loaded in here, I believe. I don't see it in the footer, but I think that we should be okay. Also adds even more additional complexity to the backgrounds, which I find to be pretty cool. I think with the singular background in the past, I've always tended to sort of specialize a frontline guy build and a rear line guy, either pole arm or ranged build that are just really specific. And not sure that that's it doesn't feel as roleplay as a party of potential characters and how that might go. So that being said, I've tried to do this start now twice on Twitch, and those videos are available in a playlist here on YouTube as well. But I found a little trouble getting this start going. I actually did it in an offline playthrough fairly successfully in a single play where I got pretty deep in the game. But for the moment, I am going to give it another shot because we have died now a couple times trying to do it. And I'm interested to see if we can just get the start rolling. I feel like with most anything, this is sort of a snowball kind of approach that you're trying to accomplish. And once you get your guys rolling and you get your skills going and you get your equipment up, it all starts to kind of fall into place. So everything looks good right now. We got good quality. We're not dropping very many frames. And this is going to be a fresh start. Legends mod PTR. We are going to go with the Berserker origin, mainly because I want to model this off of the First Law series of books, which is by Joe Abercrombie. And the main character in the First Law series, he's written a bunch of series in the same kind of world, and a lot of the characters kind of come in and out of those books. But in the First Law, the main character was Logan Ninefingers, and he is like a northern barbarian, and to all respects, probably a berserker. He had like a madness that would unleash itself and make him a unstoppable killing machine. If we can build out the berserker background and make him essentially a berserking sword dancer, all the better. And that's kind of the goal. We'll name other characters as we go along the lines of the various characters in the books as I can recall them offhand. We're going to go with a random late game crisis. The company name is going to be the First Law in dedication to the series. Let's pick a good banner. Kind of like in the barbarian style northern banner. or maybe the Kraken. I think the Kraken's kind of cool. These are the banners that you get from the supporter packs, which I think these devs kind of deserve. Like this has been a game that's been out for 7 years and started in 2015, I believe, which they've just continued to prove upon and release like meaningful DLCs too. Let's go with the Kraken. Kraken feels kind of cool. I think we're going to go, because we're playing Legends, which ups things, we're going to go veteran, medium, and Iron Man, mainly because the starting funds for this Berserker Origin are even a greater challenge I've found overall. So give ourselves a little bit of a shot at the beginning. The Berserker also tends to start in the north and is all alone. And this is like an Avatar style start where you have to survive. So let's give ourselves a little bit more leeway for surviving a little bit longer and see how we do. We're going to make sure all trade buildings are available. I'm not sure that this is necessary to do, but I think just overall it's a good choice. Battle Sisters, we're going to make them specific. So the Legends mod adds in female origins and professions into the game. I like to distinguish them mainly because it's like medieval times, and in theory there was some like distinguishing between professions. I think it adds a little more to the role play. We're going to leave everything else by default for the Legends mod, which is like dynamic perks and recruit scaling, a world economy where the financial well-being of the companies or the towns and cities goes up and down, mostly based on trade. We're going to skip the TAMP tutorial, but that'll keep the camping mechanic enabled, and off we go. I'm hoping I also picked unexplored map. If we miss that, then I'm going to have to go back and check it, because I also like that added challenge they add to the game. I have a silly amount of hours into this game. Over the years, I think I am 900 or so. I'd have to go check my Steam library to know for certain. But it's just one of those games that I kind of view as a procedural storybook. Every game, yeah, nice, we're not explored. Every game takes place in the same-ish world, but your playthrough will vary based on your origin and who likes you and who doesn't like you, the crises and what happens as things evolve over time. And I appreciate that. And I just find, guys, I come back to this game over and over on the years and enjoy it every time. Sometimes it's frustrating because this is a hard game. You can die pretty easily, like running into a buffed party early on. I think one of the things that we're going to take advantage of is in the Berserker Origin, we get to go first every turn, maybe? Or maybe I'm thinking of the deserters. Yeah, I'm thinking of the deserters. All right, so tired. You've been walking for weeks and haven't slept in too long. You stop and rest a moment, and the thoughts return. The wooden hut you built together, the plot of yams she had planted, the evening you returned from a hunt, they had come. Burned it all. The stores, the hut, the woman, the child, their screams echo in your blood, calling you to avenge them. You should have been there in time. Her tortured last moments fill your mind. What they did to her was too unspeakable. The disgust, the loathing well up again. What kind of filth could rape and kill a mother in front of her child? Your heart pounds now, cold sweat from the froth forms at the edges of your mouth. What kind of monster could then do these things to an infant child? Your mind snaps at the memory of their broken bodies. You scream with unbridled rage. Your muscles push you on again. Running blindly into another day, you must find the killers. These swine will know vengeance. And we move onwards. I'm going to do one little tweak. One of the commenters on a earlier stream had requested that we boost the volume a little bit so you guys can hear the music more. And it looks like it's hitting about negative 45 decibels now. I'm going to push it up a little bit. If any of y'all watching think it's too loud, let me know. We're going to go about halfway, see how that goes. Seems a little out of my ear. All right. Tell me how that feels in balance. If it's out of balance, let me know. And we will work it out. So, a couple things about the Legends PTR mod. You also start with a party size that is restricted based on your renown. As of right now, we have no renown. We also have cold relations with the House Boswell, which shouldn't be troubling for us, but we still will probably need to manage by not doing anything bad. Give me a moment. Let's see. There we go. As we gain more renown, we'll gain the ability to add additional followers. That ups the level of challenge, particularly on the start. So we're going to need to get 500 renown before we can have more than 3 people to additional to ourselves in the party. And starting at level 3, we tend to get a little more challenging characters to fight. So it's a hard start, and we're going to try to manage it, I think, mostly by sticking to caravan guarding quests early on in order to make sure that we survive long enough. We'll have some essentially shields in terms of the caravan guards that'll fight additionally with us that will make up the gap for characters that we might be able to hire in, say, a vanilla playthrough of the Battle Brothers standard game, where you can just hire up to 12 like immediately. So we are going to be a primarily melee based character. We have, I think, the goal to essentially, we're going to try to maximize our fatigue and combat abilities, and eventually we can get to the point where we are, well, we should get to a point where if we get to the last tier of perks, we should be able to become like a naked, unstoppable sword Dane who just runs through the morass of opponents and hopefully will be quite effective. One of the things that we do is it will try to get to nimble as a perk in addition, and that's going to make essentially your fatigue very important and will reduce your hit point damage by 60%, and will hopefully support essentially our goal to become like a singular killing machine. And if we get there, all the better. I'm gonna, I think, do the same. I'm a little tempted to take initiative too, because we want to be fast. If we can build this guy to where with his berserker trait that he can chain powerful attacks in multitudes together, we want him acting first as well. So I think we're going to do a little of that. We'll give him a little more initiative. We're going to keep buffing his fatigue and his health. And we have a couple perks to start out with. So we do have a lumberjack axe, but we're not too far from a town, so we may be able to switch that out. Because we have PTR, which is the other mod that we're running here, introduces like perk groups. So you'll see that this is a requires sword perk group. It's essentially the sword perk tree, and there'll be likely a like sword perk at each level, or most each level. There's a little randomization to it too. We could choose to also try to chain together like an axe group, and usually the perks of the same perk group will chain together to make yourself a more and more powerful character. In this case, I think we want to shoot for sword. Like, we want to try to get all of the sword perks that we can as we grow in level. The versatile weapon one, gaining 5 damage, 5 armor penetration, and 5 armor effectiveness. That might be something to start out with. I mean, the one piece is we don't have a sword to begin with, so we are going to see if we can get one in the town of Hamar. Hamar is a medium-sized village covered in snow throughout most of the year. We have disappearing villagers and raided, so our guesses will be that these 2 one-skill contracts are probably going to be go hunt bandits or probably hunt beasts that are eating the villagers. Neither of which we probably want to do at least alone. Let's see who we have to hire. We have a widow to hire with a staff and how do you say that? Ekahardis. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think we're going to pass. What I'm hoping, what would be nice to probably get is like a couple deserters. The PTR perks for the soldier's origin is pretty strong in the PTR mod aspect. It adds some kind of powerful skills where you can shield wall together for free, and it gives you essentially some free perks that I've found to be really effective in getting us to survive. We could get a Militia Glaive, and that is probably a more powerful two-handed weapon for us to start out with, and it's sword and spear, so we could use that to start leveling up our sword perks. I'm thinking that might be a good call. It doesn't let us throw a shield on, which in a survival aspect would be better. And we could go like hatchet and shield and throw some perks on for axe instead. But I don't think axe necessarily serves our long-term goal. I think we need some headgear too. So we're going to grab the simple hood. Let's see what our base layer is too. And our base layer is a wolf gambeson. This is a, if you haven't seen Legends mod before, this is another piece to it, is that in the Battle Brothers Vanilla, you'll just have an individual piece of armor that you can put, say, body and head. In this, you can put layers of armor, body and head, and you can have essentially your undercoat, your plate layer, your tabard layer, which is kind of cool. I think that it feels a little more intricate as to the combination of things that you can apply, and that also applies to your head armor as well. So you can have ruins on top. This right now is like his wolf gambeson is enhanced by his wolf pelt and gives us a little bit more effectiveness. Take a look at our perks one more time and how they might stack. I think basically here, because we're in a survival mode, this individual berserker has to survive. If we die, it's game over. I think Colossus makes sense, right? That's going to make us a monster of hit points, which I think will also serve us. Howdy, Jackie. Nice of you to join us. I think will also serve us for our long-term survival. And once we get up to nimble, we became very hit point focused. We're gonna have 60% damage reduction, and we're gonna mainly survive by having as buffed a health potion as we can. Secondarily, second tier perk, what goes best with the weapons that we have available? I know we could do Bloody Harvest, because I believe that Militia Glaive has an AoE attack, as does the axe that I have. Dodge might not be a bad idea, because we're going to become essentially a two-armed kind of sword dancer will be, I think, the goal. And right now, our melee and range defense are debuffed from the start. That'll give us 15%, which should give us basically 15 in each of those, which could be good. That's going to go down over time as we get fatigued, but we may have in our perk trees somewhere here Relentless. I don't see it. It's like a Spartan type icon. Nope. Relentless would have been a good perk to pull. In this combination of mods, your perks are sort of random, but That would have reduced the impact on our fatigue overall by a decent buff. We can go with, whenever you are attacked, gain a stacking bonus of melee and range defense. Steel Brow, that might not be bad. We got a crappy helmet to begin with. That may up our survival level significantly too. Let's see. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Thanks for watching. Executioner might be good because if we get kills, we get the additional attack essentially from our Berserker perk. So we'll get 4 action points back in a turn if we kill somebody. Executioner could be a decent stack with that. Like if we have an injured opponent, that we do an extra 20% damage, and if they are immobilized, we get another 20% damage. That's not bad. What do we think? And it's tricky because I may have mentioned I've tried this start a number of times and it's been pretty deadly. I probably died 80% of the time early on. So some of these choices are going to be somewhat important to carry on. I think I've always found myself disappointed in dodge, particularly because as your initiative goes down, it just doesn't help as much. And we don't have Relentless to pick later on. I think we're going to go with Executioner. And hopefully we can become a killer of epic proportion. We don't have anybody to hire. So 35 to 50, 20%, 25%, 75. We're currently running 35 to 70. But we are using a much more fatiguing weapon. And I just don't think the Woodcutter's Axe is necessarily as good. We're going to grab that Militia Glaive. We're going to hold on to the axe and see if we can get it onto somebody else at some point. And we don't really have anything else to do here. We're going to equip some mushrooms so that we can go crazy if we need to. No? No, we just ate them anyway. So we'll take that the next battle because berserking is our goal. We'll have some bandages on us and we'll check out these contracts, but I don't think they're anything that we want to take on solo. See if they're talking about anything in the tavern. You heard about them sell swords going south? Something about a book. Okay. Stranger Ear, too. Interesting. Let's take a look at what we have contract-wise. As Elmslim the Burgomeister looks out his window, we both know that brigands and the gods know what else are terrorizing these parts, and they are all quite fond of the roads. After a particularly bad run, my old caravan guards lost the heart for the job. Now I need someone else to watch my shipment. Next one out is going to Eisenholz to the southwest, maybe a day or so from here. Does that sound like a place you'd like to be paid to go to? Does it pay? He nods. Yes, good. I was thinking about payment for your task earlier. It's 10 crowns per head you arrive with, and I'll pay up to 15 heads and another 110 when it's done. Because we have no standing, we're just going to accept the offer. I've noticed in Legends mod, negotiating can be tense, and if you choose to negotiate too much, they will dump your offer. And right now we're after caravan jobs. 1, to open up the map, but 2, because we need extra guys. We're going to take some time to think about that, just to look at the second one. Anselm the Burgomeister's got a satchel with a scroll attached, but the name written on the paper is not yours. He weighs it carefully, the lumps of coin curving about his finger, their chinks and chanks muted. He turns to you. You recognize that name? We shake our head. The man continues. A week ago, we sent the famed Sir Rollin out here to go hunt down some foul beasts that have been terrorizing the town and surrounding farmsteads for a week. Do you know why this satchel has remained in my ownership? We shrug and answer, because he hasn't returned. Anselm the Burgomeister nods and sets the satchel down. He sits on the edge of his table. Correct, because he has not returned. Now, why do you think that is? I think that's because he's dead, but let's not be so negative. I think it's because the beasts out there require more. I think they require someone like you, Sellsword. Would you be willing to help us now that this nobleman has failed? we're not in any shape by ourselves to go hunting beasts, so that's not going to be kind of work that we're looking for. So we have our one contract. We did check out pretty much everything except for the barber, but I don't think we need any work. I think we're happy with our general stature. We have enough food for 7 days. There's really, maybe we could grab that tunic, but I don't think we need to. And other than that, we are going to go ahead and get going. So we'll take the contract. We're going to leave. Now, I saw one of the other folks that commented on some of the other Battle Brothers series that I ran through this channel, noted to me that you can, in the Legends mod, like as soon as we depart the town, we can go into the camping mechanic and we can set our guy to training and train while we maneuver around the map under the protection of the caravan. And you kind of level up faster that way. I'm calling exploit on that. I think it feels like we're exploiting a game mechanic that's not intended. Personal morality of role-playing video games, but I'm going to avoid doing so. But just in case any of y'all wondering why I'm not going to do that, it's more some twisted sense of overall morality. Oop. It's weird. Why can't I? My camera's acting a little buggy. Kind of funny. It's a little weird. He's got a little choppy there. Reaching Einshold, the caravan leader turns to you, a large satchel in hand. Thanks for getting us here, Sellsword. You take it and hand it over to Unknown for counting. That's kind of funny. We don't have a character to hand it to. He nods when he's finished, and the caravan leader smiles. Also, thanks for not betraying us and, slaughtering us to the man and all that. Mercenaries get thanked in the strangest ways. We gain 110 crowns, 47 experience, and Eisenhall is now well supplied. So, we have not been to Eisenhold yet. There's some peasants. We could kill them. So, we have opened up a little bit of the map. Let's see what else we have to look at. Looks like the route continues down to the south here. We could probably cut across here and do a little overland route. What we need to do is find some additional folks so that we are a little bit more resilient. So let's see who we have to hire. So we have Holmger. We could use an archer, but he's way too expensive. We have Willa, the Boyer? Fletcher. Which could be a good addition. I think right now we need a second frontline guy, at the very least, to distract from ourselves and give ourselves a little bit more survival quotient. Yabel is a lumberjack, going to be probably axe focused. It's going to cost us $80 to try him out, and then $5.50 to hire him on. He'll be $15 a day, which is kind of expensive for his background. But we're going to try him out just to make sure that he's not like club-footed or something. Let's see. He's a dastard, which is a bit on the unfortunate side. Iron Jaw, which is good. He's got almost like a built-in buff that's similar to Steel Brow, with buffs on fatigue, melee skill, and melee defense. Besides being a bit of a coward, that's not a bad frontline guy to add. And, let's admit it, beggars can't be choosers in this situation. We don't really have anybody else. So we're going to welcome Yabel to the party. Whoa. What just happened there? Where is he? Did we just hit a bug? We just hired him. Oh, not good. That's strange. I'm not 100%. Like I just added on the latest PTR mod that came out post 1.5 patch. I'm a little suspicious that something might be bugged there. I was running 1.15 before that. Because where is he? Whoa. What just happened? Okay. Well, you know, so I'm a software engineer and have been doing like software demos and stuff for a long time. And we have something that we call, our cache didn't go down either. That's strange. We have something called the demon of the demo, where essentially what can go wrong will go wrong. It's like the Murphy's Law of software demonstration. Let's chalk that up to the demon of the demo and hope that we can find some folks in other towns that we can hire. Otherwise, I'm going to need to probably restart and roll back maybe the PTR mod update that I did just recent to make sure that there isn't. I don't want to waste your guys' time with going and checking the Discord to make sure that there's not a compatibility threshold on PTR, because I'm kind of concerned. Shite. So let's take a look at the contract. Hope that it is a travel contract. Instead, it is a audacious act of thievery by despicable brigands who stole a lockbox. Particularly a loan. That's not something that we're going to go after. So we are not going to accept his contract. Take a look at the marketplace to see if there's anything that we can do to buff ourselves a little more. If there's like a layer of armor we could throw on an addition. We could throw on the straw hat, but that just doesn't feel necessary. And I can't really see a berserker wearing like a straw farmer's hat. That just feels wrong. Heavy two-handed flail could be kind of fun. I think other than that, we are going to go on the march. And like, I don't know if any of y'all watching have access to the PTR Discord and can check for me if there is a compatibility issue between, say, I think it's like 1.5, and the latest one I pulled down was like the latest one, which I think is maybe 1.19 were the ending version numbers. Because I'm a little worried based on the fact that that guy just disappeared on us, that we might have a mod bugged playthrough here, and that it could put a damper on things. Yes, it could. I was playing pretty solid with I think it was 1.14 that I just deleted. And if we have to go back to that, it shouldn't be that big of a thing, but it will be a little disturbing because I was feeling optimistic that this playthrough might be a good one. And try to discover a little land without running into anything that's going to overwhelm our single warrior. We're going to follow these tracks, which should be a caravan, that if it's making it through, we should. Tracks leading off, probably not a good sign. Either mercenaries or otherwise. See if we can get some eyes on them. Unless it was a rather small party. I don't think we are interested in it. We need to pick our first ambition. And the Brothers of the First Law are not just cutthroats and errand boys, but skilled fighters of the First Order. Word of our deeds must spread so that merchants and noblemen are begging us to take their contracts. What do you tell the men of the company that we will set out to do? Now, we could go for the battle standard, which is gather 2,000 crowns. We end up spending about half of that to have a battle standard. We need a backline guy and hopefully like one that we want to give to, say, the sergeant's role to do that. Or early on, because we're in sort of this cash and fellow gathering stage. Forging a bond of friendship is probably something that we're going to need to do because we'll be, hopefully, at least here in the early game, running contracts between towns and maybe build up to good relationship with at least one of them. So I'm thinking we're going to go for allies. I'm going to get back to the road, though, because we don't really want to go chasing bandits because it's just us and somehow mysteriously that our second compatriot that we tried to hire who disappeared and maybe the source of our mod issue, we shall see. If it ends up just being us and we're like in a weird bug mode that we can't get out of, I'm going to take a few minutes and restore the old mod configs and probably start this over. Apologies, but Demon of the Demo. So we get to Eisenberg, and it's a large mining camp sprawled across the surrounding hills and mountains. We have a weaponsmith here, along with the standard tavern, marketplace, and hiring square. Listen to see what they're saying in the tavern. One of my teeth fell out the other day, you see? I think their others are so loose, they're about to follow. Can you feel it? Go on, touch. They're loose, right? I've actually had a guy in a bar tell me that he had loose teeth and wanted me to touch them at one point or another. That's probably a similar experience that whatever author that wrote that up had. Let's see what we can do for hiring. Because it's a mining town, it looks mostly miner based. And miners can be tough, I think, and they're kind of affordable. So, and they come with pickaxes, which aren't a bad early game item. And our Earthside may have a perk that we would be interested in just based on his nickname, the Earthside one, making him potentially tougher than some of the others. We'd have to try him out to know for sure. We also have a thief who could be effective, right? He might give us some different perks into the mix. We have two Earthside, so we could consider them brothers, perhaps. I think as a trial run here, we need to see if we can hire anybody, since we just had that odd little bug in the last town where the hiring disappeared. So I think we're going to try out Ferold. He is a bleeder with a hate for beasts. Otherwise, mildly decent stats, but I think we're going to try out his brother, Untitled. He's asthmatic and quick. Not so great. I'm not sure that we want to take on folks to our initial small party, which is limited to that 3 because of the Legends mod party size mechanic. I'm not sure that we want to have asthmatics or bleeders on the roster if we can avoid it. We'll spend a little bit more finding folks, but we may as well just try to do so to increase our odds for survival. Kind of like Newt's name. Newt's impatient, acts quickly. He hates greenskins. He's got a really good resolve. He's got good range skill and melee defense. It's a pretty solid combination. Having resolve could help us. We want a guy that's going to be buffed for becoming the banner man potentially in the end, and improving the morale of the party overall. So let's try to hire him, and let's see if we get bugged. No, now we have 2 guys in the party. Interesting. I wonder, so we tried to hire a lumberjack before. Perhaps there's something with the lumberjack background. We'll just have to see. That was really odd. We'll just chalk it up to the randomness of the universe and keep on going. So we're down to 383 crowns. Before we hire a third, we're going to take a look at the contracts that we have available to just try to understand what we have options wise and what we might expect. And if we can get some easy cash, maybe we hire a third miner. We might want to hire them blind because we're going to be driving down our cash quite a bit. We still have 7 days of crowns as is, which is kind of safe. We're going to need to pick up some provisions. We're down to 3 days, maybe. Hopefully one of these is a caravan, and that's the way we're going to go. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So Geoffrey the Wise stares out his window, watching a group of men loading cargo into a number of wagons. He talks without looking your way. I have an important delivery heading out to Zenenfeste, roughly a day east of here. Unfortunately, a competitor outbid me in acquiring a local band of caravan guards. Now I need your services. Let's talk numbers if you're interested. What does it pay? This will make you a rich man, my friend. You'll receive 30 crowns in advance and another 110 when the job is done. And I think it said it was a day away. Again, early on, we're not really in a negotiating position because we're relative unknowns. I'm going to take that contract. Gives us 30 in advance and 110 crowns on completion. We're only a day away. We're going to accept that. Essentially, that should finance us being able to perhaps test out one more of these guys and then hire him, have the crowns to get to the next town, and move onwards from there. We're going to be probably in a bad position for equipping our guys, right? Like right now, we got a pickaxe. He's got like very terrible armor. He's wearing essentially like a sack, and he's going to draw the attention of any enemy that we might run into. But we can also roll the dice that in a day journey, we're just going to roll to the next town simply. I think a third character is more important, so we're going to go in and I think it's between Henry, Clodion, and Beau the Rock. I tend to think that characters with nicknames are going to have some sort of beneficial buff on them. It costs us 55 to try him out and 306 to hire him. That's going to leave us with about 60 crowns, and it's going to push our daily take up to 17, so we should have enough to make it to the next town, get paid, hopefully survive. Let's try him out. He's lucky and tough. Nice. And he's got buffs on melee defense and light buffs on resolve and range defense. I like Beau the Rock. Let's see if the hiring bug works. Wonderful. All right, so we have a party. We only have 50 crowns. I think instead of a dagger, we're going to give him the axe. Let him have his dagger in his back pocket. And take a look at his perk tree. One of the nice things about the Berserker origin is all of my fellows also get Berserk. So we're very kill-centric, will be the goal, is that we want to kill and kill again in order to try to get as many rollover action point attacks as we can. I think we're going to put the Axeman in the middle, because if we get some, we could get some AoE if we kind of spread out the flanks. Might work out. Actually, maybe on the end, because if we get like flanked, he can run some AoE this way. All right, so we could, let's see, we could probably sell this batch of mushrooms, and then we spend 40, and our burn is 17 a day. I think we just roll with it, see how we do, get to the next location. Everybody has a little bit of headgear. See if we get assaulted by bandits. Try to survive by pushing the militia guards into the front and see if we, how we do. That is the plan, so say we all. We're going to leave out and get going. Seems to be acting decidedly less buggy. Feels a little ambushy in here in between the mountain pass. And I called it. All right, so that looked like it was a group of thralls. Hopefully they don't have dogs. Now, so my experience here, we got, looks like one guy with a Militia Glaive and 3 guys potentially with Scarm Saxes. We have an opening to the mules here, which might kind of attract whatever is coming at us. These guys can tend to have like ranged attacks. We're going to move into like flanking position. We want to get in line with the caravan guards because we don't want to let them fall back and let us do the fighting. So we got to see if they engage. There's only 4 thralls, which is a good sign. Clubmen, they have axes though that they're going to throw at us. They're spear walling here, so we're gonna fall back because we want to meat shield the militia guards a little bit. We're not passing because we don't want to like hurt our initiative. They're doing their little initiative buffs on their ranged guys. They're going to pelt some axes at us. That first one took out Newt's armor. We need to get him out of the fray, I think, as early and as quickly as we can. Now, if we move up, we're not going to get an axe attack. I think we're going to hold Beau in position. These guys aren't going to charge. He's probably going to charge, and he's going to move in this direction. We're going to be able to get Newt out of there. He acts first. I think we're just going to hold. The militia guards are moving up to engage. That's not a bad thing. Going to fall back. Hold there. We're going to move. You know what? We should have done that. I forgot to do my intention, which is to name folks by the first law. We're going to go ahead and do that in a second as soon as we get out of that. Arnold gets a nice hit. Thrall's body suffers 43 damage, and he gives him exposed ribs. That should pull our executioner perk into the mix. Second caravan hand moves up. We got this guy surrounded. He's going to go down. That's a good whack on his head. Going to move up and hold in case this guy moves up here. I think we're going to... circle around with Newt. I'm just worried about the fact that Newt's completely exposed with no armor right now. Might be able to jump up here and actually get him some equipment. I'm going to move to the outside here, so we're not in attack range, but we can move quickly the next turn. Welcome to the stream, everybody. I think we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to move out of his range, but ready to kind of step in and engage. You can only move one with the axe to still attack following. They're all doing their adrenaline perks, so they get early initiative. And that was bad. We lost a lot of militia health. We lost a lot of meat shield on that, but they're having effective melee. Try to go here to see if there's anything to pick up. There is not. That would have been nice if we got like at least a scrap of armor we could have thrown on. Trying to keep Newt out of the fray. Arnold the Berserker, who's shortly going to become Logan Nine Fingers, runs in. He's raging from the mushrooms we gave him, which is kind of awesome. He's doing heavy damage and ripping apart some armor. I'm going to flank this guy. Gets a nice big axe hit on him. Busts apart his leather cap. Damages him for about half his health. Nice. We got a little bit of a sword dane in that caravan hand. Battle's going well for us. We're going to move up Newt just to make him feel good. We're going to move behind and still stay out of striking distance, since it would be kind of just useless to move into combat distance. And victory. Take it. So we got some figurines, we got a little bit of food, and we got a claw club and a bundle of throwing axes. We're going to take all our loot. We're going to stay on pause here. So one thing I mentioned is that I am doing this in kind of respect to Joe Abercrombie's books, The First Law, which are really good. I finished the last Joe Abercrombie book that I had, and I'm reading one last one called Sharp Ends. That's a bunch of short stories that he put out, and I'm a little depressed that I've finished all of his books because I don't have another one on tap that is going to be like the next one to acquire until he writes another one, which is a little depressing because I've been on a Joe Abercrombie kick for about 2 years, reading through all of them. But if you have not read and you enjoy like grim, dark fantasy books, I would highly recommend it. And like the First Law trilogy is where you should enter the books and move onwards from there. We're not going to give the other characters like lore-based names until at least they get a level with the party and we can expect them to survive. The Claw Club, 20 to 30, 15, 75. Maybe replace the pickaxe, 15 to 30. It's got good armor effectiveness, but we shouldn't really be fighting that armor to characters right now. 20 to 30, 15 to 30. The armor effectiveness is probably a bonus to keep and go with, so we'll stay pickaxe. And I like the options that we have for the axe. The one downside of the axe is that you tend to only get the single attack per turn, and you can only move one tile to make an attack. And those are limiting, but it is like a two-handed double buff kind of damage output. So there's a balance there, and you can chop shield. At some point, we want to get him more protected. If we get a little, we sell some of this stuff, we'll get these guys with like shield and boar, like spear and board kind of setup, and try to survive a little bit better that way. That said, we survived the assault by the barbarians, and we shall continue onward, see if we get hit by another band. Hopefully not. Those are their tracks on the outside there. We should be arriving soon. And there we are in Xenon Feste. Xenon Feste greets us with a swarm of daytailers looking for work. The caravan leader doles out crowns to men here and there, their grubby hands going to the carts to unload cargo. When he's finished with the throngs of men, the leader turns to you. He's got a satchel in hand. And this for you, mercenary. We take it. A few of the daytailers watch the exchange of monies like cats would a dangling mouse. We gain 120 crowns and 51 experience. Xenon Feste is now well supplied, which should do good if we can spend a little of our crowns. We're only at 200, but that's 11 days, so we have a little bit of space there. Maybe we can help out Newt's armor a little bit. And we also have the figurines to sell. They're going at market value. I think that's worthwhile to take. We'd rather sell them at a small profit than have to take them at a loss if we're backed up. We're also going to sell the claw hammer. Now, do we have a ranged attack on any of these guys? So, Newt has a buff on ranged, but everybody sort of sucks at it right now. I don't know that we want to waste the ammunition or the AP on throwing axes at people. Maybe if we need the cash, we'll sell the 31. They have a nice selection. So this is a lively market with all kinds of goods. It's well supplied, so the prices should be decent-ish. I think that initially here, that's a good deal. We can get Newt in a thick tunic that needs some repairs for 19 crowns. And we have 29 tools. We can create more in the camping mechanic. The thick tunic is a decent base layer that we can start out with, and it about doubles his armor. I think that's a win-win. We also have Beau the Rock, who has a leather jacket on a thick tunic. That's kind of sufficient for the moment for him. Can we get a leather jacket? We can also get a leather jacket for Newt. And we can get a leather jacket for ourselves because Logan doesn't have a 2-layer. If you guys are unfamiliar with the Legends mod, these Roman numerals relate to the layering system that you see here. So you can see that the 2 slot is unoccupied on both of these characters, but then because he has a leather jacket, it's occupied on Beau. That is that's kind of the basis of this whole system. So 2s, this is 3, it's the tabard layer. For very little money, we could do a little bit of buff on top. Same with the headgear. So the nasal helmet is a 1 layer. There's like an ornamental thing you can throw on the 3 layer, etc., etc. And it's kind of finding the bang for the buck as far as what combination of elements combine together for well buffed armor, but also, in terms of price, like 238 here for 5. Besides the resolve buff you get isn't all that great when you can get 178 and get 50. So, that basic mail shirt, how much? We have 21 days now, so we should get a little, like, make it rain flush with cash here, I think. 89 crowns for 25, 167 for 40. So that would be about 250 and change together. It would give us some breathing room on cash to figure out what we were going to do next. Let's do a quick look. So we're in a citadel. We don't have the renown to kind of transact with the citadel very well yet. So we can't take any contracts here. We're going to need to backtrack. So we're going to need some cash to travel on. Just want to take a look inside the armor. It's probably going to be mostly priced out of our range, but it's kind of like going to a sports car store or something. You might as well always look at what you could and dream. So these are like level 5 attachments, or Roman numeral 5 attachments to the armor. A little like top layer. Logan's currently got the wolf pelt as his level 5 or layer 5 gear. So weaponsmith, let's listen to the tavern. West of here, far in the hills, can't for the life of me remember what we used to call it. I'm not sure that we're in party or like dungeon raiding shape at the moment. So, all right, we're gonna go into the camp. We're gonna grab Newt a leather jacket. We're gonna sell his little sack, and so for 167. Or we're going to grab a basic mail shirt. We want Logan. We need Logan to survive. So we throw in another layer of armor here, and he'll get his basically chainmail basic mail shirt on top. And we'll throw a leather jacket on Newt. Would be nice to probably throw Newt a shield, but I think we're running low on funds unless we can maybe get a buckler. How many days? 6 more days? I'm going to give him a buckler. That's a little damaged. We should have the tools to fix everything. I think because we don't need these right now, just for the breathing room, we're going to sell our throwing axes. And we're almost out of provisions. Now, what about these fruits? They're not counting these fruits? Why aren't they counting the fruits? Something seems a little buggy with my playthrough today. Very interesting. Let's see if we leave out of here. Does that fix itself? It does not. That's kind of odd. Can I not eat the fruit? Oh, it's a battle buff. Eat it. Okay. New stuff. You learn. Let's go back inside and just check their food. I think we're going to toss a bag of grain on top. It's about a third of our cash. Should kind of even out our food burn and our payment burn. So that we should have... We'll need a little more cash. So we need to find some cash. So it looks like we got another town down here or so. Although that's a little fort, so it's not going to have what we need, which is something that's going to dole us out some potential jobs. The road continues to the northeast here, and we're kind of at the edge of the map as we discover it, right? We're going to assume that it's going to loop upward here, and hopefully there'll be a town. It may be a quick dead end to a town, we'll have to see. So, and there's peasants. Where are they coming from? Peasants from Gerheim. So Gerheim's probably up here a little bit. And let's see if we can find Gerheim and hope that it's a town that we can do some bloody business for. Welcome everybody to the stream. Alright, so we got some battle sign here. And we got some swampland, which is, I think, makes bandits happy. We're going to need to be a little careful. We don't want to engage with something that's like beyond our capabilities. We got some peat moss pits, which goes with the whole swampy exterior. And there we go. We found Gerheim. And it looks like roads continue to the north in both directions, the northeast and the northwest. So Gerheim doesn't particularly like us, but we will try to improve that and show them that we have found a better way, that we're berserkers of a valuable sort that can do their jobs for them and maybe improve their overall lives. Gerheim is an established village in rough tundra. We have a taxidermist. We have nothing to transact with. We have a tavern and a marketplace. Let's see what they're saying. That there is some ghastly diseases in the swamps. Thank you, sir. And we can't really hire anybody. Let's take a look at if there's anything decent on sale here. Nothing particular, particularly in our price range. So we're going to have to hope that one of these contracts is a caravan contract, so that we can once again just continue our slow climb to being able to hire more folks, but have protection while we do so. So dust covers Joachim the Younger's table, but there's a spot oddly cleaner than the rest that he gestures to. That's where my demonic statue used to sit. If you couldn't tell, it's gone. We nod. It does appear to be missing. The thieves who took it should be easy to track down. They're good thinkers in the night, those brigands, but they make mistakes aplenty during the day. Footprints, crowns ill spent. You should be able to track them down with ease. He looks at you with a stern eye. Do you understand, mercenary? I want you to get my property back. I want it placed right where it belongs, and I want those thieves dead in the mud. What's it worth to you? He jingles with a bag of coin. This will be yours if you help me out on this. You'll be paid 340 crowns when the contract is done. So, we're probably going to have to go on a brigand hunt. That brigand hunt is going to probably be in the neighborhood of 6 or so thugs, I would imagine, that we're going to have to fight. I've found, there's a scaling kind of mechanic that goes based on your levels. And with us being level 3 as Logan starting and having the 2 other guys on the party, we tend to skip past like the really papery thin bandits, and we move to the second level of bandit, which can be a little bit tougher. They're not brigand tough, but they're a little better equipped, where they can be formidable and luck could kill us. I think we're going to accept this though, because we don't have that much cash and we don't know how far to travel until we get something else that we might be able to afford. We're going to check that 2 crown contract and hope that it's a long run of a trade caravan protection. But for otherwise, we're going to have this one kind of in our back pocket as a possibility to do otherwise, in case that 2 crown contract is something we don't want to take on, which just about anything besides a caravan guard contract we're not going to want to do. So we're going to take some time to think about that, and we're going to go into the other contract. Man approaches from the side of the road. He's dressed in a peasant's garb, yet is guarded by 2 well-armed men. He announces himself as a councilman in the employ of Hallstein the merchant, a local leader of Gerheim. You're asked to take audience with the man. We're all ears. Hey. Hallstein the merchant's study is lit by a warm fire. He offers you a seat and a goblet of wine, both of which you take. Sellsword, you're familiar with how dangerous the roads are these days. By the god, that's good, some good wine. You nod and try to hide your astonishment. Hallstein the merchant smiles tersely and continues. Good, then you'll understand this task I have for you. I need a caravan escorted along the roads to Mitterfels, about 2 days from here. Pretty simple, right? Do you have the time for it? Let's talk if you do. How many crowns are we talking? Takes a deep breath. Very well. This is what I'm prepared to offer. You'll get 10 crowns per head you arrive with, and up to 30 heads, and another 260 when the job is done. That's right up our alley. We're going to accept your offer. Now, I think we're going to abandon the bandit hunting quest and just leave it be. Maybe we'll come back for it, depending upon. We're going to be 2 days away, though. We could take this one and take some time to think about it and go on that hunt. But it's pretty dangerous because we're kind of low-level guys and we're not very superbly equipped. These are those kind of decisions that I think when you get to like a decision point in Battle Brothers and the decision feels questionably bad, it's probably the wrong thing to do. And I think maybe going on a stolen idol hunt at this point in our short lives is probably the wrong thing to do. So we're going to just accept this contract and leave off on our caravan guarding approach. We're going 2 days. We're going to be a little bit tight because we only have maybe 2.5 days of crowns, but I think we can make it without selling anything, which we could like make another day by selling some of this little stuff that we have. You know, that's, see, that went buggy again. We can actually eat the dried fruits because now we have 48 food when we upgraded that. So there's some funny stuff going on. Not quite sure. Maybe I pulled a 1.4 update that I wasn't aware of, and things are a little out of whack with the mods because the UI is acting a little funny. Anyways, we are going to go. That's life when you mod stuff, all right? Like sometimes stuff behaves a little unpredictably, and you just live with it. So we're going to move. It's nice that we're moving to the northeast. We're going to open up a little bit more map. Ooh, oh, that was almost deadly. If we got hit by all 15 of those, that would have been all she wrote. Take a look in Grimstad, a humble village that managed to survive in the sparse tundra with disappearing villagers, a taxidermist and a market. Kind of dangerous, and I think one of the things with this Berserker start is that if you are operating in or about the northern area, it's kind of well populated by a lot of bands of Berserkers. Marketplace with a armorer and a tavern, which usually means we have good stuff available, but we have no money, so there's really nothing that we should buy. Where are we headed? We're not headed to somewhere where we know. I don't think. Yeah. We're probably headed this way, I'm going to guess. We're down to 31 crowns. Nope, I was wrong. Where are we going? We'll see. Maybe this way? Yeah. Mitterfels. Reaching Mitterfels, the caravan leader turns to you, a large satchel in hand. Thanks for getting us here, Sellsword. You take it and hand over to Beau the Rock for counting. He nods when he's finished, and the caravan leader smiles. Also, thank you for not betraying us and, slaughtering us to the man and all that. Mercenaries get thanked in the strangest ways. You get a 260 crowns and 111 experience. Mitterfels is now well supplied. Let's go take a look inside. We have a newly buffed amount of cash, which is nice. They have witch burnings here, which probably means we can hire a witcher. Nope. Is that a tinkerer? No, blacksmith. We can't hire anybody because of our renown cap at the moment anyway. They're well supplied and they're in the midst of a rebuilding effort. Taxidermist in a marketplace. Take a look at the marketplace. We probably should try to get Beau behind a board too, to give ourselves like shields on both these guys to protect them a bit more. I think because of that last quest, they both just leveled up, so we need to take a look at that as well in terms of what we want to give them for their first level perks. Newt has Back to Basics, which I found to be one of the stronger perks in the overall perk trees that PTR, I think, introduced. And it gives you, it would give us a nice buff to melee and range skill, melee defense and range defense. It's going to move us up quite a bit, along with resolve, which will be a bonus. There's like a diminishing return as you level up any of those traits as far as how much Back to Basics gives you. But I think the strength of it as alone is worthwhile for us to add it to the mix here. Now, he's got some renown like leadership and sergeant type traits, which could be functional for us. But I think just the overall impact of this as an early tier perk, it's just too strong to avoid. So right there, it gave us 5 melee skill, 3 melee defense, 12 range skill, 1 range defense, and 4 resolve. You know, in a 1 perk kind of situation, that's pretty strong. So now we do have to recognize, like, if we take this +4, we'll probably end up with like a net of +3 because there's like a threshold of diminishing returns based on that Back to Basics trait. So it's usually better to try to focus on ones outside of that. That being said, with the spread of our perks here, I think we're still going to take this +5 in renown because that's still pretty strong. We'll probably end up with like a net of +4 maybe. Maybe not, because we were already pretty high in renown to begin with, and I think the Back to Basics was only a minimal perk in that regard to like 50. And I think we're going to try to make him a ranged character. So diminishing returns aside, we're going to give him both initiative and ranged attack. So now we net out at 54. Now that kind of backed it off, so his buff on ranged resolve is only 2, but he does still get a 12 ranged skill perk, which is good. So we should probably try to get him, you know, like we might want to go some throwing weapons and throw quick hands on him so that we can switch in and out and have a little bit of ranged attack to try to weaken the front line of who we're at. Kind of like that as a plan. Kind of wish we kept the axes now. We could pick up some javelins for 193, which is a little less than market, and that's not terrible. It would put us, you know, a little cash poor, but we have 16 days of cash at the moment, so that's not wouldn't be a terrible angle to take. We can also get a board for Beau, but let's see what we do for upgrading Beau first. So Beau's a thief, and he's also lucky and already tough. Gain 10% of your base range skill as melee skill. Be like 4. Additionally, when wielding a throwing weapon, cheer on. So he's got some of those same like leadership perks. That's actually not a bad draw that we have for our first 2 guys there. We can get him to recover. We can get take aim. He's not really going to be a ranged guy, so that's not going to be his thing. Versatile weapon. He's got like the, he's got some of the skills in the sword perk tree, which could be useful in terms of where we want to try to build him. I'm sort of feeling Pathfinder for this upgrade, just to get him capable of moving around, because he's got the lumberjack axe, at least for the moment. That's going to give him the ability to kind of move quickly, or more quickly for less action points and maybe get in more attacks. Might not be bad. Get him into position easier. I'm just kind of thinking also as we look at these, what next level perks we might get. to try to combine with whatever choices we're going to make here early on. Yeah, we're going to go with Pathfinder. And we are going to buff him. He got kind of an average roll across the board for skills and what we may do. He's kind of average stat-wise, I think, overall. He does get a plus 10 buff on hit points from his skill, so we may not need to do that, at least initially. I think we need to get him better melee attack because he's in the front line. I think better melee defense is a viable choice for him. I'd like to buff his fatigue because it's kind of below 100, but plus 2 is a bit of a waste. Plus 3 on his resolve might not be bad. Or plus 3 on his range defense. We kind of have a plethora of options here. I think going with the idea of the Berserker and killing often and many, we're going to go with the plus 3 on initiative because we gain value from early kills with our extra attack from the Berserk trait if we can. So that's my theory and I'm sticking to it. So we also have the idea that we've reached level 2 on these guys, and I think that we should grant them some corresponding names for the party and see how that goes. So we're going to go and give them some names from the series. There's a lot of characters in the books, and there's a lot of backgrounds that we could try to like match them up with. Beau being a thief. There were a few thieves in the books. A lot of them were female. And there's one in the books that I'm reading right now who is Shebediah. And it's a female thief, but she was the best thief in Talons. And I think Shebediah can be a guy's name too. So we'll go that way. And then we have Newt. And I think Newt we're going to name as one of the Northerners. And one of the longest lasting Northerners in the books is Dogman. And we'll give him that name for now. So Dogman, Shebediah, and Logan Nine Fingers are the party as we stand today. Going back to our options here. And we can double Newt's headgear because he's only wearing a bandana for 39. That's under market, so we're going to do it. "14 days. I think we're going to give him javelins. It's a little bit of a stretch. We'll have him equip the javelins first so that we're ready to toss them in case we get into it with anybody. And we'll see how it goes. Sell a little cloth scarf. We probably should have recycled that for tools in camp, but it's not super effective yet. We have 3 more days of cash at 18 a day. Let's see what we can do quest-wise. So if we had a guess, yeah, I don't have a good guess. Let's go for caravan job. Whammy, whammy, no whammy. A hooded man gestures you to follow him, nervously looking over his shoulder. He leads you to the back room of a local tavern. Before addressing you, he takes his time to peek out the windows, probably looking for anyone eavesdropping. A figurehead by the name of Angamir the Trademaster wishes to see you. He's a man of some repute in this town, so you understand my discretion. He slides a paper to you with directions written on it. We're all ears. Hey, winner, winner. Angamir the Trademaster's study is lit by a warm fire. He offers you a seat and a goblet of wine, both of which you take. Sellsword, you're familiar with how dangerous the roads are these days. By the gods, that's some good wine. You nod and try to hide your astonishment. Angamir the Trademaster smiles tersely and continues. Good, then you'll understand this task I have for you. I need a caravan escorted along the roads to Collenberg, about a day from here. Pretty simple, right? Do you have the time for it? Let's talk if you do. What does it pay? He smiles. This will make you a rich man, my friend. You'll get 10 crowns per head you arrive with 20 heads at most, and another 110 the job is done. We're going to take that offer. I think we have a decent chance, based on what we've seen, that we might have to slaughter some folks along the way, and hopefully we can profit off the 20 a head. So we're going to accept that offer because we don't want to lose the contract in negotiation. And I think we're otherwise equipped and ready to go. Dude looks like a little wizard. I'm going to accept that contract. And I think otherwise, off we go. And we got some brigands ahead of us. Many brigand thugs and a bandit rabble poacher. So that'd be like 7 thugs and a bowman, which could take us out. Depends on how many. Yeah, we don't have a super buff. It's probably 2 to 3 of the carts and 2 to 3 caravan hands. See how it goes. Barbarians, that could also hurt us. They're going to circle back on us and see what they got. Just thralls, but 6. They seem to be passing. Ah, nice. We got a company from Mitterfells came out and killed them. Thank you. Always tip your militia. You've made it to having delivered the caravan just as you promised. Engermere, the trade master, you would. The caravan leader thanks you with a payment of crowns. He seems rather thankful for the fact that he's alive, briefly regaling you with a tale of when he barely escaped an ambush by brigands. You nod as if you give 2 shits about what's happened to this man. You gain 110 crowns and 47 experience. Kallenberg is now well supplied. Crowns well deserved. Alright, so we have 152. Take a look how our renown's doing. We're up to 93, so we're only really 1/5 away to breaking the renown threshold on our party size. So that's the challenge of this Berserker start, is to be conservative early on, to stay alive, to level up where you can, and to get to a point that you're like operable. Because at a party of 3 in this world, we're not all that operable. So we're going to move into Kallenberg, who is also cold relations. So it's not helping that nobody here likes us and thinks that we're like barbarian scum, because we need to get to friendly relations to fulfill our current ambition. But that is life. Can't really control what other people think about you. So Kallenberg has some huts and small buildings housing workers for the nearby mines. I think this is where we hired Newt and our thief. Well, now Newt is Dogman and Shevadiah. They have some disappearing villagers. This is probably a beast hunt. It's probably not what we want to do. Most beast hunts are going to be either direwolves or the nachos or the, say, spiders, all of which will probably kick our small party's ass, which we're going to try to avoid because we're playing Iron Man. We're playing on a live stream where hopefully we want to try to survive a little while rather than die an hour and a half in. So those are all the things that are going through the calculation process here. We enter a tavern and garner a few looks upon our arrival. Men whisper to one another. The women ogle as they tend to do. The bartender fists a cloth into a mug and calls you over. You're that mercenary people have been wondering about. Curious, you ask how we would know, being that you aren't the only man walking around with a sword. He laughs. The eyes, that's where I can see it. You're the man who hunts the most dangerous sort of prey. A life of taking lives is a world in and of itself. But you seek out those whose lives have gained such odd values that their death would be a monetary appreciation for others. A purchase is placed, so thus you become the means of it to a transaction. It is so, isn't it? You're a bone collector, my friend, a gravedigger paid in advance. You nod, understanding. Suddenly a man comes up to you and explains that the local figurehead by the name of Strykar the Steward wishes to have your ear. When you turn back, the bartender is gone. I'm all ears. Strykar the Sellsword, listening to the talk of a few peasants when you find them. When they see you, they quickly depart, leaving the man with a satchel in hand, which he holds up. There's crowns in here, crowns that these people are giving me to give anyone to help us. People are disappearing, sellsword, and when they are found, they're not just dead, but mangled, mutilated. Everyone is too scared to go anywhere. He stares into the sack and looks at you. I do hope you're interested in this task. So, beast hunting task, probably beyond the capabilities of our small and rather ill-equipped party. We are not willing to take Kallenberg cash to die to a pack of wolves if we can help it. So, we have some food, we have some cash, there's nothing else here that we can transact with. We don't really want to spend, I think, any money on equipment. There's really nothing that increases our capabilities to any degree. It would be nice to get Shevadiah behind a shield, but we'd have to get her a hand weapon in addition. And maybe a spear would be good. I think we're going to just go with it as it is. And what we have to decide is which direction in which to travel. We could go north towards Hamar. That's going to push us further into the north, and we already have barbarians kind of just running all over the place, partially because this tribal camp down here is likely spawning them. We want to get to friendly conditions with at least one town. We haven't really successfully gotten anyone to like us very much, mainly because they all think we're barbarians, because that is our origin. So nobody really likes us. That's tricky. So, I think heading down here to Hochgrub, that gives us all three of these towns to visit, to potentially pull our next contracts. We also have this northern road to go scout. Now, we can't pull from Hochgrub, though, because it's a big town. Yeah. I think that seems like an adequate plan. We may want to go spelunk across the mountain range here just to open up a little bit of map. It's getting late, though. We could end up in an ambush. So I think we're just... let's go. Let's go spelunking. I think our miner actually gives us a little better speed on hills. So we're 12.5% buff on moving through hills, which should hopefully help us outpace anybody that might encounter out here. Hopefully we won't hit the mountain ranges. Really, I'm mostly just like a little bit OCD about clearing map fog. So I figured since we have the opportunity to do so, let's do so. We're going to jump up at elevation here. That'll push that boundary out a little bit more. And we're going to run down to Hochgrube. I think the developers of this are all from Germany, which is why I think a lot of the town names have sort of that kind of dialectic intonation. Going into the tavern. If you have any valuables on you, stay away from Kallenberg. The place is scourged by cutthroats, bandits, and highwaymen. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We have an armorer, which should mean that we have some decent armor in the marketplace to potentially access. It's a decent piece of headgear. It upgrades our current hoods by 10 or 100. We don't really have the cash to get that thin. I think what we're going to do is address these contracts, see what we can do, and take it from there. We're going to go kind of right to left. And there we go, winner. Alfgeir of Hochgrub grabs a chest off his shelf and puts it on his desk. When he opens it, a bevy of papers pop out, almost scurrying to get free. He grabs one and lays it out. On one side, there's a contract. On the other, a small drawing of a map. It's real simple, sellsword. I've been contracted to deliver some particular cargo to Eisenberg. I have the goods, but I don't have the guards. If you're interested in being caravan guards for a time, maybe a day or so, let me know and we can hash out some numbers. How many are we talking about? He gesticulates with his hands, pointing at his fingers as if counting something, but it means nothing to you. Judging from experience, this is good payment for the task. You'll receive 30 crowns in advance and another 110 when the job is done. Feeling like, we're caravan guards. We've done a couple here. Let's go and just take a shot at more cash. Need to be paid more. Reasonable. You'll get 30 crowns in advance and another 130 when it's done. So we get another 20 crowns for asking. That is a lesson in life. Just ask, right? Going to accept that offer. So we have an escort caravan going to Eisenberg about a day to the south. We're going to take that contract. We don't really want to worry about the other two. It's unlikely that they're going to be a similar caravan task, and we should stay focused on those until at least we can buff the party a little further. And off we go. It's nice that we're shadowing another caravan, at least initially here. That'll give us a little more protection because we'll likely both fight if we get assaulted. Some barbarians came at us, but they were too slow. Going down to Eisenberg. We've been there before. Yeah. Okay, we lost our shadow. Night's fallen. Ooh. Was that 7 direwolves? I didn't really see it. That was pretty quick. All right. Shall we survive? Now, what we may do is run. If it's 7 direwolves, I think we're going to run. I think that's the direwolf theme song that's playing there in the background. Shite. And there's 7 of them. All right. We're going to drop Dogman. So breezy, are you saying we're going to die? I'm not above just retreating and letting the dogs of war eat these folks. In fact, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna drop back 3 paces because I think that'll put us out of striking distance of the direwolves. Now I can actually hear them coming, so now we are running. We're straight up running. Yep. Oh, wait a second. It's nachos. 7 nachos is different. Okay. So the important thing about nachos is we don't want to let them eat each other, which they will eat corpses to buff and jump to the next level, which also resets their health to an even higher level of whatever that buffed up level is. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to drop Shevadiah down low, and we're going to put Logan up high. I think it's going to be close that any are going to get here, but we're going to spear wall anyways. I thought maybe that guy could have charged us. It seems like they're charging the caravan carts. They're going to flank these guys. That guy's just running. This still could potentially be something that we should be running from. Because we're mercenaries, we're not martyrs. So if we move there, we're not going to be able to do anything. If we move there, we're not going to be able to do anything in return. This is probably our last chance to just straight up run. I'm going to put ourselves in a position where we still have that choice. We could post Logan up here, spear wall one more time, and we could get some good return off it. Like these guys are going to charge here, and we'll get guys that charge into either of these places, plus try to flank Logan. That spear wall might be like the difference between surviving this assault and not. Or we run. What do any of you think? Do they think we run? I think Breezy Baller says we should run. Like, I really don't want to die. You know, we also got a good AoE attack. So, like, if we get in here, we spear wall, these guys charge us, we could probably get a nice, like, from elevation spear wall, and then do the AoE swing. Shit, let's give it a shot. Like, if you ain't gonna fight, what's the point? Plus, these guys are worth about 20 bucks a head. Nice. Nice. Didn't work out terrible. There's some possibility, right? Alright, we're going to swing down and try to save the carts, because we'll also lose cash for every cart we lose. Going to move up, and we're going to try to get a javelin off. It's nighttime, though, so it's going to kind of mess with our capability to throw, but missed. Maybe if we can get to high ground, that'll do. So because of our Berserker capability, we're going to try to kill that guy. That refreshes our action points because we get that +4 on each move. And I think we're going to circle around. Now we could do the full circle and flank these guys. And we're still going to get an attack on him when he tries to retreat. Where's this guy? That guy won't get an attack on us. And we could potentially do an AoE. But we're also going to open ourselves up for a lot of attacks. We're not going to get a... What do we do? You know, if he retreats with good initiative, I think what we're going to do is we're going to move here so we're not putting ourselves into, like, the line of fire on everybody. Maybe we kill him, we get a little Berserker bonus. We call it good. He moves out to meet us. Right, we're hitting on the donkey, but that gives us a little bit of a meat shield. Not terrible. We may lose our first guy here. I think we're going to try to... Yeah, no. We're not getting attacks there. Hopefully this Graham Sacks guy does some damage. He did a little. Got a bleed. Killed another Nacho. Nice. 2 Nachos down. He's turning. They're going to jump behind. Try to get a javelin over his shoulder. Nice hit. That broke another one's morale. Do we go here? Try to get off an attack, which we may kill one. Like, I've seen Nachos come back from broken morale pretty easily. So, and these two are pretty much unharmed. This guy's got a little wound on him. I think we move in. We take another hit on him to try to get a kill. We get it. So now we get our little action point buff. So we have another slash that we can throw, or we can move in and engage. I think because he's gravely wounded and wavering, we're going to move in behind him and hope that it breaks his morale. Leave this guy to get killed by this caravan hand. Didn't break the morale. It was worth a shot. We may lose that donkey. Yep, we lost one caravan hand. So let's see if we can finish him with the woodsman's axe. Miss. What's so tricky about that weapon is you don't get the follow-up attack. I need to get him a better melee weapon. Alright, so we can't throw on him because he's too far off. We want to try to save the donkey is I think the goal here, because otherwise our payout goes down by probably a third. So we're going to drop down behind, toss another javelin, miss. Let's see if Logan can go berserk and finish this throw. Nice hit there. Gonna move in, full action points, another kill. Logan is becoming the sword dancer that we wish. Look at that, survival. Awesome. And Logan bumps up a level. We get some trinkets that might be worth some cash. Nice. Let's take a look at Logan's stats. So, he is... Our goal is to make him a unstoppable sword Dane. Exploiting openings. Whenever an opponent misses a melee attack, we get exploitable opening effect until their next turn, which gives us a 10% chance to hit. Not bad. That would go with the weapon that we currently have. Sanguinary. A chance to inflict fatalities is up by 50%. Fatalities refund 25% of the base fatigue cost of the skill used. Every successful attack that applies bleeding improves our morale by a level. Fatalities instantly set the our morale to confident. That's not a bad... Yeah, wait a second. Actually, we're at executioner level. Initiative is increased by 35%. The equipped sword's armor ignore percentage. Fatigue cost of weapon skills is reduced by 20% of the currently equipped sword's armor effectiveness. Armor effectiveness is 75. 25% armor ignore, so this is a light buff that we would get in terms of initiative and fatigue cost on using a sword. It may not be the bad thing. Relentless, though, we don't slow down. At all times, our initiative is reduced by only 50% of our accumulated fatigue instead of all of it. In addition, wait command will no longer give us a penalty on initiative. That could be strong for our angle in terms of where we're going to go, because we're going to really kind of light armor it if we get up to, say, nimble and nudist. Steadfast, fatigue cost of getting hit, taunt, deep impact, blunt damage. I don't think we're going to have a blunt weapon. Menacing, lower the resolve of ancient and adjacent enemies by 10. You know, being the bringer of fear is not a terrible thing either. That we can try to break the morale of our enemies. Formidable approach, make them think twice about getting close when wielding a two-handed weapon. Reduce the melee skill and melee defense of any enemy within your zone of control by 10%. Only half as effective against enemies with two-handed weapons. 10% melee defense, and our melee offense is 8, so it would be reduce their melee defense by 8. Might not be bad. I think we're just going to lower the resolve by... Lower their melee defense or lower their resolve? What do you think, chat? Anybody have an opinion on that one? Dismemberment. Cutting damage. Threshold to inflict injuries is reduced by a percentage equal to 35% of your maximum damage. We could roll back and get crippling strikes, which is threshold to reduce injuries is 33% lower, but we can injure the undead. Now we can, and all we need is cutting damage. I believe we have cutting damage here on the Militia Glaive. I think I've had good success with Relentless, and that's kind of our goal here is to move fast and often, keep stacking on that attack, kill, berserk, kill again mechanic, and maximize our capability to do so. In that respect, we're going to buff our hit points. We're going to buff our melee attack again. And we have probably the options here to choose between fatigue, initiative, or resolve. We're going to go with initiative because I want to get him faster and faster. And as we shed armor, we're going to speed up even further. All right, that's that. We will get back on the road. A woman jumps out of a tree line beside the path. Oh, thank the gods. My prayers have been answered. Please come quick. My grandpa has fallen down the well. She turns and hurries away as though you've already agreed to help her. Shevadiah glances at you and shrugs. I don't think we're saving grandpa because it could be a trap. Or we could get injured going down a well. I'm not really sure there's any upside. And we have arrived at Eisenberg. Eisenberg greets us with a swarm of daytailers looking for work. The caravan leader doles out crowns to men here and there, their grubby hands going to the carts to unload cargo. When he's finished with the throngs of men, the leader turns to you. He's got a satchel in hand. And this is for you, mercenary. We take it, and a few of the daytailers watch the exchange of monies like cats would a dangling mouse. We gain 172 crowns and 72 experience. Eisenberg is now well supplied. Well deserved. Go take a look in town. They have terrified villagers. They're in the midst of a rebuilding effort, and they are well supplied. We have 2 contracts. One's a dual crown. We're probably not ready for that. We're still shy of being able to hire anybody. Let's listen to what they had to say in the tavern. You know, gosh, what is it called again? To the north, not far east from here, and far north to the northeast from here. On the hills. Can't for the life of me remember what we used to call it. We got a weaponsmith. I'd have a little better selection of weapons in the marketplace based on that. All right, 334 crowns. That gives us a little bit of space to potentially pick up a one-handed weapon, because the two-handed weapon on Shevadiah isn't totally performing. So I think we need to go another route. What I'd really like to do, since he has like the dagger perk tree, if we could get a good dagger, it might not be a bad thing to add to the mix here and get super specialized on daggers. We could get a parrying dagger with offhand training. Maybe, like a dual dagger, classic like D&D rogue type character. Possible. And we could give him a board and a shield, or a board as a shield. We could go Militia Spear. We can't afford a full shield if we went Spear. We haven't really picked up any great one-handed weapons to swap in for that, except for that one mercenaries, or one barbarians club that we picked up. Don't really have a great selection of knives here, just like the standard. We don't really have much in terms of armor. So our upgrade options are kind of limited, and I'm thinking stunner, right? So we have the cash to pick up one of these bludgeons and to pick up a shield, set it up on Shevadiah, that we can potentially stun some folks and give some extra space in terms of timing for the rest of our guys to attack on top. Not really getting great prices on our horns, so I think we're going to hang on to those for now. But we are going to pick up I think we have time to fix them. We have the tools to do it. So we're going to buy the cheapest bludgeon, and we're going to grab a wooden shield, and we're going to drop that on Chev. I think we're going to then, if we get a decent price for it, sell the woodcutter's axe. Because I don't think, it's not the greatest weapon. It just, it's too restrictive on your moves, and it only gives you the one attack per turn, where you just don't have as many RNG chances to succeed with. I think I've seen better prices than 54, but we got 6 days of crowns, 7 days of provisions. We're going to hold on to it for now. We'll see how that plays out if we make a decent decision and get some more cash from it in the future. So, I don't think there was anything else that we could grab, like as headgear that's any better. There was that one town where we had some decent headgear that we found so far. Take a look at the contract. We come across a man leaning against a porch post. He hails us down. Leobald the Younger has been looking for you, sellsword. He's down yonder in the village communal. The stranger nods towards a large building a little ways along the road. I hope you do good, mercenary. The people of Eisenberg are wary of your sort, but that don't mean that their hearts can't be won over. I'm all ears. Leobald the Younger has got a map of a cemetery on his desk. Half the plot's squares appear to have been filled in with ink. Every square you see there has been robbed. Every night they come, and every night I can't quite seem to catch them. I'm at my wit's end here, so I've decided to end this once and for all. I want you to go to the graveyard and kill every grave-robbing fool you see. Got it? See how much money they're going to offer us? He takes a deep breath. Very well, this is what I'm prepared to offer you. You'll be paid 380 crowns when the contract is done. So we have a graveyard quest that is going to be one of two things. It's going to be a batch of grave robbers, or it's going to be a batch of the undead. At, a 1 crown level contract, that could be a fair number of folks that we would fight. I think with the scaling, it could be good or bad. We're not that well prepared to fight a large party. I think we're just going to say forget it. We're not going to take that quest. We'll listen to the 2 crown quest and hope that it's a caravan. Menward of Eisenberg is shaking when you greet him. He's practically frothing with anger, or maybe he's just really drunk. Citizens of this fine town are starving. Why? Because brigands keep sneaking in during the night to raid the granaries. And if we catch them, they burn the buildings down. Now we can't defend ourselves by sitting back. Now I want you to defend myself by killing them all. Now I want to defend myself by killing them all. The man teeters for a moment as if about to spill himself across his desk, and then he steadies before continuing. I want you to go kill these vagrants, obviously. All you have to do is be interested and name your price. What is Eisenberg prepared to pay for their safety? He opens his palms. I'm tight on crowns, so before you ask, this is all I have. It's 680 when the contract is done. I think we're probably going to have to defend Eisenberg in this situation. I think that's what this quest is. And it'd be like 1 or 2, possibly 2 parties. At just the 3 of us, it's not worth it for us to die. So we're going to move on and try to find some trade that we can run. Now, where we want to go is the question. Dolkenwa, neither of these guys are going to have any available quests for us. We could backtrack and head northward again. I think the goal here is we're going to run down to the south here and follow this road to unknown destinations and see what else we can find. Maybe we're going to end up going at it with some brigands along the way. That may be unavoidable. We kind of haven't gotten down southernly enough where we're encountering many regular brigands as much as we've been encountering barbarians. So that's kind of the goal of getting down here further. Looks like we have a town here to the west. Yater Wall. You can look inside just to discover it. But we don't really... Ooh, kennel. I like the dogs. especially in this situation where we are still capped at 3. One of the ways that we can buff our party decently is to purchase some dogs. We're going to get better prices for our axes and horns. If we can get a deal on a dog, I think that that is a adequate negotiation. So it's $329 to get a armored war dog. It's $165 to get one without armor. I usually purchase them by name too. Bones is kind of a cool name for a war dog. Drake is also a kind of cool name. I don't think we have enough. So we are going to trade nacho horns and our axe for a dog. And I will consider that a good deal. I think we're going to buy Wolf. We don't have enough to get him armor, which would have been good. But for the moment, we'll take that deal. And Logan gets a hound. That way, with Logan's Berserker ability and being a higher kill rate, he'll get more opportunities to release that dog in the mix as well. So that's the plan. All right. Nice. So, it doesn't look like the road continues to the west here. We're going to jump back out here and continue to the south, or at least the southeast, and see what we have to find. So we got some tracks moving in and out of the roadway here. There's probably some brigands approaching. See if we run into them. We do not. Another town here to the west. See if we can get in before nightfall and maybe pull across. That's another citadel. We've never been to it. We may as well look inside. Citadel towering high over the surrounding woods with a burned down warehouse. It's got a training hall, weaponsmith, armorer, fletcher. Good batch of men. Everything out of our price range. But if we build up a little bit, this might be a spot to come back and get some better equipped folks. Possibly. Take a look at the marketplace. This also might be a good place to acquire some cheaper armor layers, but nothing all that interesting. I think this little hat's kind of funny. It makes the enemies much more likely to attack you. Like, the hat makes them angry. Prices are crazy. Why is that $1,800? What the heck? Nice septum. Nothing that really fits the bill. We have 2 days before spoiling on our food, so our food's getting kind of low. Our cash is still 7 days worth. That's a little expensive on food. We're going to try to hold out till we get to the next town in order to buy some cash. So, because we should be there by morning, I would guess. And we don't know where there is yet, but we're going to just play the law of averages and not waste the extra money on food and hopefully pick it up cheaper. Because these guys are doing like 150% market on their food, which feels a little egregious, guys. We cannot have inflation in every factor of our lives, including video games. So running these forests at night with guys that are obviously outside the boundaries of the roads could be a little tricky. And we see some nomads, but it's just a couple slingers and an indebted. How many we got total? 3? Oh, yeah. I think we're going to farm you guys. So that's probably 2 slingers and an indebted. An indebted is going to be like a naked slavish guy. Not the master spearsman from Game of Thrones. And we get backup from the caravan, which actually I didn't mean to do because they may actually take some of our cash. So we're going to move Dogman to high ground, take a long javelin shot at the Indebted, who's got a cleaver, and does have decent headgear. The turbans tend to be good, effective headgear in terms of their stats. I believe they can also use these slings that are southern slings as melee weapons, so they're not just 100% I want to close on these guys as much as possible type characters or type range characters. Nice shield wall save Shebediah from a hit there. Gonna stay in the line so we don't isolate any of ourselves. Looks like they're hanging back and staying ranged. Mercenary guards are charging because they have the numbers. He's running a falchion and some decent armor. I think we just gotta stick with the game plan and charge. It's not our game plan, it's the caravan's game plan, but nonetheless. Nomads were introduced with the Southern DLC, if you have not played Battle Brothers before. And it introduced like 3 Southern capitals, essentially, and some new mechanics, a bunch of new gear, and a bunch of new mob types, some of which were just kind of Southern duplicates of Northern mob types, like the hyenas, but also some unique ones like snakes and Ifrits and some other dangerous stuff. And one of the cooler things that they had also introduced is we were going to release the Hound. One of the other cool things that they introduced, see if we can get him to go after that last guy, hopefully survive, but tie him up so he can't retreat. One of the cooler things they introduced is a arena mechanic where you can go down and you can fight a scaling number of fights in the arena, which is, if you watched any of my other series of Battle Brother videos, something that I'm not that good at and have lost quite a few good characters to, because they're essentially like, equal numbers fights with potentially fairly geared or fairly dangerous mobs, and I have lost quite a few guys on the sands of the arena, so I try to stay out of it now. But you do get decent cash if you win. Doesn't seem like we're going to do any damage here, and I think that's going to mean that the caravan actually takes all of the goods, which is unfortunate because I was really just trying to farm these guys for their turbans. Let's see. Got anything? Yeah. Like, don't bogart my bandit kill there, caravan. That was not the plan. I got a little surprised when the caravan kind of turned on us and attacked us when it was just the 3 of them. That threw off the timing a little bit, or else we could have given them some space and we wouldn't have gotten that reinforcement. I think we still would have been fine. We reach Felsheim. See if we can just wait until dawn. We did. And we're going to go inside and check it out. Felsheim are some huts and small buildings housing workers for the nearby mines. They have terrified villagers and a contract available, which is likely going to be a beast hunt. Or maybe because they're rebuilding, they got raided and this is going to be a bandit contract. We have 134 crowns, 39 provisions. We did say we needed provisions because our stuff's going to rot out pretty soon. The prices are marginally, well, I think it was 47 in the other spot. I think we just have to grin and bear it and take a bag of grain for about 1/3 of our cash. nothing else all that interesting. It would be nice to get Dogman a better shield than his buckler, but that is not on the cards right now. So we're going to grab some more food. Take a look at the 2 crown and hope that it's or a 2 skull, and hope that it is a caravan. Bit where the merchant's got a map of a cemetery on his desk. Half the plot squares appear to be filled in with ink. Every square you see has been robbed. Every night they come, and every night I can't swim to catch them. I'm at my wit's end here, so I've decided to end this once and for you all. I want you to go to that graveyard and kill every grave robbing fool you see. You got it? Not interested. We're too few for taking on a graveyard likely full of folks, at least until we get another level, say, on our secondary compadres. So you can see the biome kind of changes here. That means that we're starting to get towards the south, as did running into nomads. We're going to just take a poke inside Wolfenburg and see what's to be had. Listen to what they had to say in a tavern. Knew a hedge knight who got hired by a sellsword company a few days back. He was in there puffing his chest and talking about how much gold he'd make. Then as soon as he joined up, they took all his gear and gave him the boot. Maybe the old gods are alive after all. It's a good idea. Although I think hiring a hedge knight is several grand, so I'm less certain that's a profitable tactic. Take a look here. We got a couple thick tunics, cheaper shield, but we don't have the cash to acquire it. We have an armor and a weaponsmith, but everything's going to be overpriced there. We still can't hire anybody. We have no contracts because this is a noble only contract. It's going to require us to be a little bit more experienced. So we can keep going to the south, but just like the north, things become a little bit more dangerous as you go into the Southlands because some of those mobs are pretty deadly. It doesn't look like any of these lands go to the west much further. There's just this one road that we didn't explore up here. I don't really see, and this one road way to the north. It looks like we can potentially kind of head back in this direction and discover a bit more. There may be something down here if this road continues through this town. Mainly what I've found is as far as the average mobs that you really want to try to stay in the Midderlands and survive with the regular banditry than the northern or southern varieties, because the northern or southern varieties are tougher. The northern ones probably slightly less tough than the nomad ones because they usually have a scarcity of armor. But the northern ones also tend to have ranged weapons. So we have some overground tombstones up there. I don't think we're really in a condition to go farming random POIs. So I would tend to say that, like if you're going to choose between north and south, particularly in the early game, you would choose north, mainly because that's going to be more survivable. But if you can stay mid-range, call it like the Goldilocks zone of Battle Brothers, you probably want to stay in the Midderlands because that's just more survivable. We'll look inside Dunklin Watch just so that we know what's in there. I think that's a Fletcher. I forget that. Or is that a Boyer or something like that? Marketplace. We can keep on moving. So from here, Zinfeste is a citadel. Isn't going to have any work for us. We got to get all the way to Gerheim to catch a job. We can't get jobs from Jaderwall. And we could get a job from Eisenberg or Mitterfels. And there's this kind of westerly direction to continue to explore. So I think heading to Eisenberg makes the most sense for us, survival-wise. We don't have that much cash. We don't have that much food. During our short rest, the company managed to catch a thief that tried to make off with some of your supplies. The villain's clothes are but rags and looks more skeleton than human. What are you going to do with the crook? Give the poor soul some food and water? Give the rotter a good beating? Put the thief to the sword. So this is like a morality choice, it seems like, that the most. Doing a short rest. So, the guy tried to steal from us, but he's like starving. I mean, we can give him some food and water, but we don't have a ton of food or water. And, like if he wants to join up afterwards, we don't have space in the party. So there's that. We could just beat him up, and or we could put him to the sword. I think we're going to choose the good middle round, and we're just going to give him a beating. Dogman gives the thief a proper beating with a short cane. The shaft lands viciously hard, and you can hear the sound of the blows passing through the thief's almost hollow frame. The beaten culprit wilts and turns and tries hard to get away, but the sellsword is persistent in meting out the punishment. When it's all said and done, you leave the beaten thief behind, whimpering and clutching the dirt between frail fingers. Let this be a lesson. You can't go stealing from a mercenary company. Like, it's a bunch of hard killers. That is not a method for long-term success. So we're going to head to the west. Trying to make it Eisenberg. I think our food just went down somewhat precipitously because some of our stuff either rotted out or we finished eating it. Got signs of battle here, so there may be something moving around. There we go. And so these are probably brigands of some sort moving through. That trading company passed all right, though. So we'll see what we have to find. It could be up here in the forest. Nope. The mystery shall remain. So we're going to go to Eisenberg, see what's what. A large mining camp sprawled across the surrounding hills and mountains. We have a weaponsmith, a tavern, and then the marketplace and the hiring square. Heard of collapsed hovel? People say that it's haunted, the dead walking and all. Somewhere to the west of here. Maybe someone else in Eisenberg can tell you more. Know that we care. I don't think we want to die. And the undead might be a little tough for the three of us to jump on top of. Do we have a contract available? Probably a hunt of some sort for the terrified villagers? Ah, it is not. We've got a shipment. And, well, it doesn't concern you what it is. It's going to Zinfest, and like many folks, I'm worried about the brigands on the roads. I need to watch the caravan to make sure that it arrives safe and sound in about a day. Does that sound like something that we would be interested in? It absolutely does. So we're going to say yes. He puts a hand on your shoulder, smiling reaffirmingly. I think that I know adequate compensation for your services. You'll receive 30 in advance and 110 when the job's done. I'm going to take that because that is going to about double our cash, I believe, and we could use it. Yeah. So, yes, sir. We shall take your caravan outwards, and they're going to give us provisions while we're on the road. We should be okay there. And we should have the cash to finance our wages while we go. Where are we headed? Do we know? Yeah, it's Zinfest, which isn't bad. That gets us to a town where we can't pull contracts, but we can go north and hopefully do so. Going north, we're going to probably start running into, goblin raiders, and I think I saw 14 of them. So goblins are slippery and poisoning. Oh, it's only 4. Thought I saw 14. I thought we were all going to die. Thought I was going to start doing the epitaph now. Now, they were on wolves, so I think they're going to be wolf riders. What I'm going to do to preserve our ability to throw, in case they're on wolves and they can charge easily, we're going to drop back into a position that we could still throw a javelin from this turn and pause. Oh, I'm not seeing any wolves. That's okay. Good. Alright. Shoot shield wall in case they pop out with any throwing weapons, because they tend to bolo. I'm going to move Logan behind my shield wall and gent and give him some protection in case they go to throwing weapons. See what these two guys do too. They may not advance, they may protect the caravan carts. And we're going to bring Dogman down. Yeah, they're holding position. As mercenary hands tend to do, is they tend to hold position. So we got our eyes up. Survival instincts. I think we're going to move Logan to the high ground here, because he can be super effective from that high ground. But if these guys aren't charging, we may let these folks expire with their throwing weapons and wait in kind for them to charge. I'd kind of like to try to pull the net off of Shevadiah, but instead we're going to move to this high ground, give ourselves an advantage against throwing weapons. Hope that Shevadiah breaks free easy here. He doesn't. We're going to try to break free again. We still don't get it. We're going to move down Dogman and try to break Shevadiah out of the net. Nice. Because that net, I think, is about a 25% defense debuff across the board. That Goblin Skirmisher's got like a falchion of kind of nasty proportion. So that Goblin moving up put himself into kind of susceptible territory. And we're going to concentrate on him. Fortunately, the caravan guards are also advancing on him. We'll move above him. Hopefully get a good hit off with Logan. Wasn't bad. Didn't do much. Just went off mostly his armor. It was a poorly directed swing, so he lost 60% of his damage. And it is nighttime, so we have a debuff on Dogman's throwing skill. But we're not going to be able to advance and also switch weapons, so we're going to move down one and I think stay concentrating on this skirmisher. Because he's surrounded, we kind of get a buff back, so it's a 50-50 shot. Get a nice hit. Does mostly damage to its neck, but also grazes neck and gives him an injury, which makes him a little more susceptible, particularly to Logan's executioner skill. We're going to surround the goblin and try to get a stun on him. Nice. That should save some hits. It's a nasty looking. That'd be a nice knife for Shevadiah. If we want to go back to focusing on dagger skills. Nice, the surrounded goblin goes down. I think we're going to move Logan up here. We're going to get off an AoE, and we're also going to expose the goblin that's hiding in these grasses, which will stop him from firing arrows. Now, we don't have enough for an AoE. So I think instead of one attack, which isn't going to kill him, we're going to drop the dog and let Wolf do some damage, hopefully as well. It could be bad for Wolf. We can't advance and switch hands on Dogman, so we're going to advance and throw. And we get a decent hit on the Goblin Skirmisher. Couldn't get enough power behind the shot, so we got a little damage reduction. I think those complexities are also part of the Legends mod, which I find kind of fun. We're going to shield wall, and our fatigue got us, so like Shevadiah doesn't really have the fatigue, I think, to be a clubsman with his board, so if we kill this guy, we get his knife. I think we're going to give Shevadiah that knife, because he's got the dagger perk tree that we can make him pretty effective with. Ooh. Yeah, so the goblins have like finesse, I think, in their skills, so they can break melee combat without getting an attack of opportunity. Though we cannot, so we need to concentrate on this guy, but we're getting 91% chance. Nice. So Logan gets a first hit, gets a kill. We can move Logan up to the grassland, but he's going to then expose himself potentially to 2 layers of attack. Although I think both of these guys have quick hands, so it's not going to matter that they're currently running ranged weapons. I'm going to move him up on the first, just so that we don't get that extra hit and save ourselves from the same. We don't really have... Why can't we get any shots there? I'm poisoned. Yeah, so I can't see. So I guess I can't see that far. It's a little wacky. I'm going to move behind. He's in a shield wall. I'm going to move again. And we can't see that far, or we don't have the action points. Not great. We're going to move up, and we're going to shield wall, because we're going to rely on like Logan being our damage dealer. The caravan hands aren't helping us at all, which is sort of shitey of them. Goblin Ambusher pulls his knife. He gets a notch blade. 84% chance to get through. Nice hit. Second one, if he hits him, doesn't kill him. But we did pretty good damage to both head and body armor, and get some hits against his hit points. We got a 49% chance to hit him with another javelin shot. I think we have at least 3 javelins left. First one does the work. We get our Berserker buff. I think with our Berserker buff, we're going to switch weapons, and we're going to move forward. Not totally loving moving in without being able to shield wall because of our fatigue. I'm going to pass and see what happens. Goblin's running. So I think we put up a chase. But I think we're going to stay. Well, got to take some chances, right? I'm going to run them down. Try to draw the attacks with Logan instead of Shevadiah, hopefully. Or maybe they'll go after the dog. No, he uses finesse. Moves on Shevadiah. %46 chance to hit. Or we can shield wall and go safe. I think we're gonna, because we're gonna stay engaged with this guy, I think, unless he tries to finesse away. We're actually gonna shield wall, because I'd rather try to get a stun lock against him, or just protect ourselves, because we're not really that well armored. We should sort of rely on Logan to be our killer. What you're gonna do by skipping behind and chopping that guy in the back. Now he's near death. Should be all she wrote. Nice. We got upgrades on Dogman and Shevadiah. They got another level each. We get some loot. And we're finally getting some more interesting weapons. So, goblin weapons tend to be a little less effective, but they also tend to be low fatigue to their human counterparts. The Boondock Bow isn't terrible. It's not super effective against armor. We don't have any arrows, but we're going to go ahead and take all that stuff, and I'm going to leave out. I'm going to see what we might want to employ there, and we're also going to do our upgrades. So that notch blade is a sword dagger, one-handed, 2060 effectiveness, and it doesn't build up very much of fatigue, and it also has a reduction in action points for use. And we have some of the dagger perk tree here that we could employ. I don't know if we have one at this second tier of skills. Rattle, crossbow, polearm, two-handed, inspirational. You know, I think for what we're doing with Dogman, quick hands could work because we have the javelin. So we want to, that would give us a little bit better of an ability to pivot quickly. And it's Shevadiah who's the thief and has the dagger perks. So we're going to go quick hands. That will let us kind of maximize the value of being the javelin man. We're going to bump his range skill again as back to basics, diminishing returns, yada yada. We're just going to try to live with that. And his fatigue is kind of doggy as well as his name. So I think we're going to try to just buff that, even though it's a +3. And we're going to buff his resolve because he's fairly strong in that regard. He's had a lot of the resolve perk tree. I think it's, and because it's a +5, it's kind of hard to pass up. And as your backup weapon, I think we're going to give him this Cruel Falchion. It's a little less effective against armor, but it also doesn't build up that much fatigue. And it may be a better secondary weapon, or his melee weapon. And the Wooden Skirmisher Shield is 10-10-4. And I think the Skirmisher Shield is a little better for him. So we get a couple buffs. We could go bolas instead of javelins, but I think javelins are better. What they should have made bolas do, that would be kind of interesting, is like reduce the person's movement that you hit. Sort of like the idea that it gets wrapped around him and is entangling. But I do not believe they do so. I don't think they have some special skill to do so. So Shevadiah. First of all, Shevadiah, we're going to get rid of that notch blade, or get rid of his standard knife, and we're going to go to the notch blade, which is buffed, essentially, and is a better dagger, I think. And we're going to look at our skill tree as far as daggers and see what we might want to do. Honor doesn't win us fights. The bonus hit chance to melee is doubled to 10% for each ally surrounding and distracting your target. You know, we have Pathfinder, which means that we should be able to move more effectively for less action points and for less fatigue. That means that we can probably position better, and Backstabber might be a decent thing to try to take advantage of that. He's not any good at really ranged weapons. Entrenched, when using a ranged weapon, we're not really going to range weapon. Exploit openings. So that is a sword and a dagger that we're going to pivot to. We can get exploitable openings. Steel brow. That might not be bad because we're wearing like a cloth hood at the moment. Survival instinct. We could get attack, ranged, and melee defense buffs on being attacked. I think I'm going to like the idea of adding our capabilities around the dagger, because that goes with our RP kind of approach to being a thief, and we're going to give him one of the goblin daggers. It would also be cool if they came like pre-poisoned, but they did not. We needed to give him his stat buffs too. We're going to level him up. Shevadiah is skill challenged, be the best way to put it. Because we're going to rely on melee for him, we're going to take whatever melee buff we can get. Because he's wielding, in particular, a goblin dagger, fatigue is a little less important. I think speed is important. And we're going to try to stay defensive so that he can avoid damage. With our level ups distributed, we are going to go back on the road. Thanks everybody for watching the stream. Any comments or interactions are always appreciated. If you guys want to give a follow and you're not already following the channel, would appreciate that too. As the caravan rests, Shevadiah takes you by the arm and secretly leads you to the back of one of the wagons. Peeking around to make sure that no one is looking, he lifts the lid on a crate. Gems shuck about inside, shimmering sharply in what little light there is, and he closes the lid. What do you want to do? That's a lot of dosh, sir. Though we have the option to rob our own caravan, I think because of our quest being to get to good relations with at least one faction or one town, that would be kind of counterintuitive to getting there, which is going to be our biggest renown bump that we can access here early on. So we are not going to steal. We are going to be honorary mercenaries. We are men of the contract. Sorry, Shebediah. Having reached Zinnenfest, we'll call it, the caravan wagons are immediately unloaded and their goods are taken to a nearby warehouse. Once it's all cleared out, the leader of the group hands you a satchel of crowns and thanks you for making sure their passage was a safe one. We gain 140 and 60 experience. Zinnenfest is now well supplied. We can take a look inside. Let's see our food stores. And we might be able to do some trade here too. We got a little bit of stuff that's available for sale. We could also make Dogman an archer. I'm not sure with only 3 guys, if we go 2 and 1, if that's that safe of a scenario. I think it's easier to get flanked and lose the advantage of having a bowman in the mix. I think it's unadvised. So we'll take a look at what they'll give us cash-wise. The prices aren't super. We could probably do better. And that it would only be attractive if there were upgrades that we wanted to do. Now, bumping our guys from thick tunics to padded surcoats wouldn't be a bad idea. Bumping them to full Akaton caps wouldn't be a bad idea. You know, bang for the buck there. For 111, we'll bump them about 20 on head armor. For 93, we'll bump them 25 on their body armor. 177 is a little pricey, right? It's a little bit over market. But it's not a bad thing to make our guys a little bit more survivable than the tunics. That's about a 25 armor upgrade for the price. We're kind of flush with crowns, so I think that's the route we're going to take. I want to check the armor and see if there's just happens to be cheaper, but it's usually doubtful. I think usually any of the equipment that bleeds over to the marketplace is generally sold at a discount to what you can get inside the specialty shops. You know, so one school of thought would be we'd grab the Akaton cap and we'd throw it on Logan because he's our mange damage dealer and he's the guy that we keep advancing into melee as often as possible. That would give him extra 20 head armor and might make our survivability even better. Or we don't have the cash to actually buy both of these padded surcoats. So we can acquire one padded surcoat and try to buff the guys that we have in addition to Logan. Or we do both of these things and that's like 204 and we sell everything we got. I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to sell all this stuff. I kind of wanted to keep that bow, but c'est la vie. That puts us up to 364. That makes getting Logan the headgear and grabbing the padded surcoat a little more effective. We still have 160 cash. We could almost afford something else. Either maybe an Akaton cap for one of the other frontline guys, which only gives them 10 more for about 100 of our cash. I think we're going to wait until we have a little more because we got to travel a little bit. So we'll give Logan a better piece of headgear. That improves his body armor. And between these two guys, Dogman has the worst of the two defensiveness in terms of melee. So we're going to buff him by giving him the padded armor. And with that said, oops. I think we're going to keep this stuff. We're not probably going to get that much cash for them. And at some point, we're going to need to start recycling gear to buff our tools and supplies, which is one of the camp mechanics in the Legends mod. And, oh, another dog. And he's got a cool name. It would be actually nice that if we could get a cheap batch of war dog armor. I don't think there was a kennel here. Yeah, just a training hall. So, last thing to check is our food. This is going to spoil in a day. This is going to spoil in 4 days. We picked up some strange meat from the goblins, which is probably goblin meat, which is going to spoil in a day. We should have enough food to make it to the next town. Even if that 14 lasts, we do 7 a day, so that's 2 days worth of provisions. That should be enough to make it to the north here. And we're going to head up to Gernheim. So we're heading north. We're increasing our opportunity for running into barbarians, but at the moment we ran into some brigands. So that's 8 thugs and a war dog. That's probably more than we want to fight right now. There's just 8 of them is going to lead us to being outflanked. The war dog's going to engage us quickly, which is going to take some of the advantage that we get from Dogman's javelins out of the mix. And, you know, it's probably like 50-50 we get out of that fight. And I would imagine we'd probably lose a guy in the process. So, it's not ideal though, because if we retreat, we don't have another town that we can do quests for until we get back to Eisenberg. It's probably going to be like a day and a half away. And they may not even have quests because we did some for them already. It would put us closer to Jaderwall, where they have a kennel and we could get more dogs. And I am dog friendly. Again, one of the core premises of Battle Brothers, being that it's a hard game and we're playing Iron Man live on stream, is if it feels like a bad idea, it probably is. And I think that feels like a bad idea. There's just too many of them. They'll be able to flank us. So unless we RNG a bunch of hits quick and early and get some deaths in the mix quick and early, we're probably going to get flanked and surrounded and die. So let's listen to our better nature and logic and head in the other direction. Heading north would have been more deadly for us anyways. So it's kind of a funny map that there's this big dead area in the middle, and there's sort of like not a very well populated middle ground before you get either to the north or the south. It's a little interesting, but that is RNG as well. You know, as you generate maps in Battle Brothers, you can provide a seed. And I think there's like some places where people share seeds of interesting maps or the like. And you generally get some kind of standard proportion maps. There's also the ability in Legends mod to change those and modify them. But, you know, it's always interesting. It's always about what happens in the random nature of the game to what kind of experience it's going to provide you and what kind of story it might tell when you do so. But honestly, that's, I think, the part of the game that I enjoy the most and why I keep coming back to it now, 7 years after they originally released it. And they've been kind enough to provide 7 years of DLC ads Looks like we might be running into some brigands here. We can meat shield the peasants. That might not be a bad idea. That could also be a mercenary party that's just taking a shortcut. Yeah, it was probably these guys, the bringers of peace. Alright, so I'm going to try to run into Eisenberg, see if there is anything to be had. There are no contracts available. We still have some provisions. Let's just check our rotting dates. Spoil in 3 days. We still got our strange meat. I think we're doing okay. We could also drop into camp and maybe hunt. That's all possible. We're at 2 hours and 45 minutes. Hope you all are enjoying the stream. If you are, comments and likes or subscribes are always enjoyed or appreciated. So if you feel the urge to click, go ahead and click. Let's just take a look. It's like fancy stuff. This is like the Mercedes dealership or maybe like a Porsche. And we have Kia or Yugo, if you remember in the old days. Cash right now. See if the tavern has anything interesting. Trade with Zinenfest is prospering, my friend. Safe roads and full stocks. Let's hope it stays that way. You can see down there on the bottom the wealth percentage. That's the wealth mechanic that's in Legends and is how they manage the idea of a world economy. I'm going to head back north with these peasants. We come across an old man hobbling along the road. He settles himself against his walking stick and awaits your approach. His eyes are gray, but he tilts his head as though to see you with his ears. Chinking armor, heavy footsteps, steady breaths, more warriors up for a land of war. The man straightens up as though to say, "Am I right?" You tell him that you're not here to harm him. So yes, I am right as usual. It wouldn't be too much of a bother to run me through, though. My hearing's gone, and I suppose once it's gone, so shall I be. He pauses and turns his head. Did you say something? You notice the man's got a nice jeweled ring on one of his bony fingers. Dog man sidles up to you, and he says, "We could probably take that. You know, like taking a tart from a baby. A really blind and more than helpless than usual baby." We're not going to steal an old guy's ring. That just, yeah. No thanks. Travel safely, old man. We are going to run alongside these peasants and use them as potentially meat shields. So the Black Company are engaging some brigands, some thugs, and some rabble. You know, if we jump into this mix, we might just get an opportunity to pull some spare loot. So we're going to. And the peasants jump in too. So we're going to charge. I think really the hope here that we end up with is some benefit of gear. So you can see with brigand thugs, they're a little bit more well equipped. And we skipped right past, I think, I forget the low-level brigand name. It might be like Vagabond or something like that. But we don't get many of those with the balance of this start and how it works with the scaling. But we also have the mercenaries that we're fighting alongside of, and that's going to give us more than enough that we need to clear these guys pretty quickly. So we should feel good enough to just advance and try to get in on some of the kills, gain some experience, and at the same time, potentially gain some loot for our work. I think we're going to switch Dogman over to his Falchion rather than waste some ammunition on these guys. And oh, happy Easter to y'all too. It would probably be better to move Shevadiah second in order to get some of the melee attack benefits as we surround the mercenary. We're going to do that. We're going to wait. Because if we move Logan and move Dogman in, then Shevadiah moves in and gets that like surrounded trait and get 10% hit chance per. I'm going to move Logan in, and Logan's scary trait makes them break, which is a good thing. That's a good hit on this thug. Peasants moving in. Right. And do a slash. Has 10% chance to hit. Nice. And Dogman gets his buff for berserking. Move him in, take a shot at that brigand. Just block Shevadiah. The mercenaries are going to do their work. That guy's got a war band. I think it's war brand. Nice. Dogman gets a kill. Maybe we'll get a little share of the loot. I'm gonna let him out. I'm gonna let out Wolf. It was pretty ugly, but we were just supporting them in the hopes of getting some stuff, and we did. Nice. Alright. Alright. Should have kept that boondock bow. But now we have a short bow and some arrows, so we could convert over Dogman to a pure archer, which I think in the books Dogman was an archer, so it's like lore compatible. Although we're not going to go that like strict. But we did get a gambeson, which is nice. It's not as good as the wolf gambeson that Logan has on, and we should probably make the decision on where to put it, somewhat fatigue based, and Shevadiah has better fatigue, so giving him the gambeson and the leather jacket will work out better. It does need repairs. We'll just let that happen, though. We're going to set our old thick tunic to recycling. We could go spear, but I kind of like the goblin weapons on these guys because they don't have good fatigue to begin with, and the goblin weapons are like low fatigue in terms of using. It seems like a nice fit, and it also fits at least Shevadiah's skill. Perk Tree. So that's that. Little profit. We can hit a town and sell some of this stuff and be in a little better of a financial position. We're going to follow the Black Company and keep moving north. And the Black Company is regrouping, and they're heading south anyways. So where are we heading? We're heading to Mitterfels and hoping that we can pull a contract or two. We're kind of approaching 3 hours on the stream, so I may cut it off there. That's usually about what I try to do for a Battle Brothers episode. I think it seems a little long, and it's, I don't think it's super algorithm friendly, but it seems to be like a decent bit of content for one of these things, especially that I play slow and read this stuff to y'all and kind of tell you what I'm thinking before I do it. So it's not like a speed run. Probably the exact opposite of a speed run, if I had to say. But so we're in Mitterfelds again. It's some huts, small building housing workers for the nearby mines. Got a bunch of grave diggers and millers with shovels. Armory the rabbit. I wonder what that buff is. Let's take a look at the marketplace, see what they'll give us for some of our gear. Nothing substantial. We can sell that flail. Seems like it's worth more than that, though. I would only do that if there was something good to buy. And there really isn't. Kind of happy with the party so far. We are going to run out of food soon. We still probably have a couple days worth. Before we make any decisions of note, we're going to take a look at the contract that's available. A man approaches from the side of the road. He's dressed in a peasant's garb, yet is guarded by two well-armed men. He announces himself as a councilman in the employ of Arnold the Berserker, a local leader of Mitterfelds. You are asked to take an audience with the man. We're all ears. You step into the Burgermeister's room, and he shoves a map into your face. I need a place found, sellsword. It lies to the southeast of here, at or near the region of Mistwood. The laymen call it the abandoned burial site, but whatever it is, I need to know where it is. Understand? Find it, and you will be paid handsomely. For the right price, we shall. He gesticulates with his hands, pointing at his fingers as if counting something, but it means nothing to you. Judging from experience, this is a good payment for the task. You will receive 340 crowns when the contract is done. That's a fat payment for not having to fight anybody, so we're going to accept that offer without negotiating. I don't want to lose it, and that feels like the right call. So there's nothing else here. We're going to accept that contract. And because our food in some combination can be eaten and rot out, you may want to grab some more provisions in case we're wandering around in the woods looking for this thing. The food here is selling pretty much at market, so I feel like my guys should get something different than grain because we've just been crunching on grain the whole time. I think we're going to grab some bread. We have the cash to support that. You know, at some point, if you acquire enough food in combination, that will give you guys a morale buff because of the plentiful nature of it. So we need to go southeast around that region of Mistwood. You know, do you think that this is probably Mistwood down here? We'll have to see. I generally am not very successful at the search tasks on these maps. Ooh, whoa. Fortified wooden encampment used by outlaws to stash their loot and rest in between raids. And there's a whole lot in there. A few thugs, a poacher, some raiders, a war dog, a monk, a farmhand, a minstrel, a woodcutter, and a miner. I have raided a few places like this with a better equipped party, and monks are actually kind of tough. Like, they make them like these little, or at least in this mod, it makes them kind of these evasive sort of Shaylin version of monks that I have found troubling to deal with in the past. So where do we think Mistwood is? Could be this farthest up here, or we could be way off base and it's somewhere down here. We don't really want to go into the swamplands if we can help it, because we can pick up disease. That doesn't look big enough to be a full out forest. We did discover a new town, and we're starting to figure out what's going on to the west here, which isn't bad. We'll play it out a little bit more. Pretty soon we're going to have like an event come where some guy either offers to tell us where it is for cash or otherwise. We'll probably let him tell us where it is, because we don't really have the map or the region knowledge to know where Mistwood is. This wood is looking a little too small to be a wood, or to be a Mistwood. Let's go figure out what town this is. Seafeld. They don't like us either. This could be it, but we're starting to get a little far to the southeast. And we're not even all that far south. It would be nice to see the name. We're starting to see a battle site. A group of world-weary explorers. They seize up the middle of the road, half covered in mud and half in leaves, and all in unintentional camouflage. One rubs his forehead, eyeing you carefully before a smile widens. I know a searcher when I see one. You're looking for the abandoned burial site, ain't you? Well, you're in luck. We was just coming from there. Here, give me your map and I'll show you where it is. You see? On the hills, far away to the east of where we are now. Oh, wait a second. I am a doink. I'm going west. What a goofball. All right. Oh, man. Glad we got the extra food. So we're going to run up this road just to clear it and open up the map. That was totally goofy. We got some brigands trailing us. So where is Mistwood? I think it's that. Dang it. That was a donkey move. Donkey Odie. Some brigand targets a war dog and a few bandit poachers. So if there are like 2 to 3 poachers, a war dog, that means maybe there's like 4 thugs. We could probably take them, but that doesn't make us the cash that we need. And what I'd rather do is see if we can... there's some wildlife. We got 8 brigands there, some brigand thugs and a few bandit poachers, so we're getting surrounded. I think we retreat to high ground. Because we move faster through the hills than they do. And I think we head back the way we came. From whence we came. Because those guys in combination are going to kick our ass. We could try to get Bringers of Peace to come in as a third party if they got close to us. But instead, we're just going to use the hills to get out of Dodge. Get across here. So southeast. If it ends up being like right here, I'm going to be a little pissed. But stuff happens. At least it gave time to get all of our stuff repaired. Look on the bright side. Oh. We got 4 dire wolves. And we didn't get out of Dodge. So 4 dire wolves can be tricky. They're going to advance on us like immediately. So they're probably going to charge. They may get to engaging with us right away, which could be a bad thing. So it'd be great if we could get to the high ground and take the high ground. It's not guaranteed that we shall. I think I'm going to move Dogman back in the idea that they're going to try to flank us and that we have the chance to take this high ground, which it looks like we're going to because of how far back they started. Nope, they engaged. So we could do a shield wall knockback. What is our chances? 69%. But Logan's not going to knock back. So this could be bad. This could be real bad. We could try to slash. We can drop... Logan can get an attack in and drop Wolf to try to get a secondary attack on this guy. Or we could try to shield wall and move up and assist. Or not shield wall, shield bash. I think that's what we're going to try to do. 69% chance. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Nice. Alright, so that's going to allow us to get up here so we can concentrate attacks on this guy. I think we're going to try to penetrate his armor. We only get a 10% chance to hit. No, thank you. We're going to take the regular. Get a nice hit, take half his armor. Got a secondary hit, nice hit. Could swing again, but I don't think we're going to take out the dog. So we're going to release Wolf and see if we can get some extra hits on that dire wolf. And maybe if it's unarmored at this point, we can kill it. Come on, Wolf. Gets one hit. So the wolves are going to move up. Are they going to surround Dogman? No. They are going to get on him, though. And Dogman could be in trouble. Alright. Wolf, come on. Wolf nearly breaks him. So, Logan is baffled, which is a damage, fatigue, and initiative debuff. But that's going to be okay. We should get the kill here. It doesn't kill him. Secondarily, it does get the kill. We're going to move down because we need to try to help. Is that a debuff on defense? No. I think we need to try to help Dogman, or Dogman's a dead dude. Now here, we could do a shield bash on this guy and similarly try to get down. We won't make it all the way to the high ground, but we could try to get down and help Dogman, because Dogman is going to die if we don't help him. What's our chance? 69%. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Nice. We don't really want to get downhill of this guy. We can't really make it to the high ground. We're going to get engaged again. So that it seems like moving here, which could let us get to here. How many steps is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's tricky. Now our dog's probably going to move first and engage this dire wolf, so that may give us the time that we need to get behind this guy. We're going to try that, see what happens. So now, Dogman, I'm going to use quick hands. We're going to pull the falchion. We can get one attack in and then we can shield wall. I think we're going to concentrate on this guy because potentially if we give Logan the low ground disadvantage, we're going to be able to fight him from that position. Because Logan's not going to get here and be able to attack. So we need to try to concentrate damage where we can. We get a miss. We're going to shield wall to try to survive the next round. Fingers crossed. Nice, nice, nice. Survives. Alright, we'll take that. We'll take Logan one-on-one. Although, took a head hit. It's going bad. It's going all bad. Going all bad. So, we're going to try to use Logan to concentrate on this one. Nice hits. Took away all of its armor, some of its health. We're going to sneak up behind this one. We don't have the stamina to get shield walled. Dogman's got a pierced cheek. So his fatigue recovery's down. He's probably only going to get... he's going to get 2 attacks. All we can do is try to fight. Or we could try to retreat, but they're going to kill us. Get a nice hit, take away half its armor. We don't get a second hit. Dogman could die, especially if they hit him in the head. That's the problem with shitty armor. Ooh, survives. Nice. Survives twice. Took another hit to the body armor. Logan's actually kind of beat now, but with the dog and his assisting, we get a kill. Nice. I'm going to try to get up here to stay on the high ground. We don't really want to charge in to anywhere down here where we're going to get that disadvantage, especially when Logan has no armor left, but he is running like high health, so we should be a little survivable. And we also have the debuff of being scary. I think both our wolf gear and our native perks make us kind of diminish their resolve. So that's the hope here, is that we can get these guys to break by getting some more damage in on them, starting to surround. Nice that Shevadiah gets 3 attacks on that mix. That takes that wolf down. He's kind of wounded now. We have Dogman. Damn it. If we had just a little more fatigue, riposte wouldn't be a bad deal here, because these guys attack 3 at a time. That could be 3 attacks in return if they continue to miss, because he's been a little elusive. Live and learn. We're just gonna have to try to fight it through and see if we survive. And he misses. Oh, no. Oh, another body hit. Oh, he's down. He's hurt bad. Wolf moves in. So, Dogman's in a bad shape. One other thing we could try to do here is potentially shield bash one of these guys out of the way. And maybe get Dogman an angle to retreat, because he's going to die next turn. Our alternative option is kill. And I'm not sure that we're going to kill anybody. So, at least not easily the next turn. Right? We get an 89% chance to knock this one off. I think it's going to either go here or here on a shield bash. Because of the characters that are taking up the other tiles. I think it actually takes a little bit of damage if we do so. Let's do it. Oh, we miss. Dang it. All right. Logan gets a big hit, but goes off the armor for the most part. Like what we should try to do probably is roll the dice and run. Because Dogman's butt is kicked right now. We don't want to lose them if we can help it. They'll both get AoE attacks, but if we can get out of here, both of the wolves are engaged. I don't think it's worth the one attack. So he's probably going to die here because we're going to try to escape, but I think it's like the best chance of keeping him alive. Oh. All right, run like the wind, but you have no fatigue. So I'm not bleeding, so if we can finish off the wolves, then we can survive this. Nice. Now we got to worry about Logan. This is going to be close, however it worked out. Fatigue is against us now. Logan's wounded. He lost his 25% of his melee skill. We're going to retreat Dogman back. He's just got no armor. He's got no health. We can't take misses right now. I think we're just, that wolf's gonna chase us down. It's game over because we lost, unless we somehow Logan survives with an injury, because that wasn't a fatality. He's got all his body parts, right? I don't think we're gonna be able to get Dogman out of combat. This wolf's gonna chase him down, but we can try. Could have probably stayed on that hill and done riposte maybe, and that would have been a better choice. But I'm thinking we just lost, so. Almost kills it. Not enough fatigue to get over the hump. At least Dogman goes down fighting, gets a good hit on that wolf. Maybe he makes his brothers survive. Dogman's down. Wolf almost takes it. We do get a kill. I'm going to move up to take the high ground. Hopefully the dog will engage and give us a little bit of space. Now the wolf's retreating. So does Logan survive his near-death experience, or is the playthrough over? Logan does not survive. Dogman survives with a brain damage. Yeah. Dang it. So we had been doing good. That was a good attempt. I thought we were playing conservative by being very particular about the battles that we took, but we got taken down by traveling at night. We didn't have enough guys to fight off 4 dire wolves. We got a little RNG'd in the mix, but it was kind of fun. So this is the 3rd attempt I think I have had at doing a stream of the First Law playthrough and doing a Joe Abercrombie based version of the Berserker origin. And it's the 3rd time that we have died horribly. I do promise that there was one time that I played this kind of fast and offline and was able to get up a fairly strong party going and snowballing, and it was actually quite fun because like a berserker that is mostly leveled up is deadly foe when you get him to the point that he just kind of mows through people, and you give him like kata and other types of like streaming together attack perks, and it gets really kind of fun. But the cruel finality you have doled upon others has returned in totality, claiming the lives of the entirety of the First Law. Few will speak of you, and certainly no more than the crows who squawk out claims to your corpses. With no shortage of work for hired swords in this world, there is always the next mercenary band to take their place. 23 sad little points. And we go back to the mud, as they would say in the First Law trilogy. All right. Well, 3 hours and 15 minutes in. It was kind of fun. I hope anybody that happens to be watching now enjoyed the stream. And or if you're watching this later, because it should stay up and available on the channel, I hope you had a decent time while we did it too. I enjoy these Battle Brothers games, and even enjoy them when it kills you. And it's, if you play this game very much, it tends to kill you a lot. Particularly with this Legends mod in the mix, that cap on your party size and the ability to grow without getting your renown up early is definitely makes this a much more strategic and dangerous endeavor. That said, always appreciate the comments that you folks leave, the likes, and the continued subscriptions to the channel. We got 140 folks on there, which is just a little loony to me, but is much appreciated. And if you guys can continue to provide feedback, it's always nice to hear. And I hope you guys enjoyed.